Thanks for listening to the Von Haessler Doctrine podcast. Remember, you can hear the show every weekday from 9 to noon right here on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Live from Sherwood Forest in the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, Hour 1 of the Von Haessler Doctrine begins right now. I am your lovable, huggable, mid-morning chat host, Eric Von Haessler, surrounded by the lovely Doctrinaires, Tim Andrews, Autumn Fisher, Jared Yamamoto.
Happy Tuesday, Eric.
Happy Tuesday to all. Not such a happy Tuesday for me because, you know, I use the hospitality highway to get to work.
That's 400, right?
That's 400. I don't know. There's one sign that says the hospitality highway. I've never heard anyone actually refer to it as the hospitality highway. There's one sign on the stretch of 400 that I use that says it's there. It's never quite caught on. But for me, it is, in fact, the hospitality highway. More so than usual this morning because people were slowing down, apparently, just to acknowledge one another. I guess that's what you would do on the hospitality highway. This is something I do not understand. So I get in my car around 6:15 this morning, turn on my favorite radio station, WSB, because they got the traffic and the weather. It's all, it's all I need. I don't know about somebody else, but I'm not an idiot. WSB. And the first thing I hear, Smiling Mark says, trouble, back up, 400, because that means I got to take surface streets otherwise. It's northbound. Well, I'm going southbound. I'm heading into the city. No problem. Northbound, big tie up there, Sandy Springs. Three lanes are being blocked. But I'm going northbound. A little bit sluggish. Why? Why is it sluggish? I understand on northbound because, well, they've stopped. They've blocked off 3 lanes for an investigation. That's going to make it. But I'm going southbound. I'm headed to the city. Why in the world, over on our side of the concrete barrier, would it be sluggish? Well, the answer is, I don't know. People feel a need to slow down and look at that thing they can't see over the concrete barrier. Wow, there's a lot of blue lights flashing, and what makes you slow down? Hey, you know what? Speed up. Go turn on your television, and probably you'll be able to see it in real time. I have no idea why in the world it would slow me down, because on the other side of the concrete barrier, again, by the way, that you can't see over, everybody's got to slow down. There's blue lights coming from the other side of the concrete barrier. Let's slow down. Let's investigate this for ourselves. Maybe we could hear something, because I sure as hell can't see anything over that concrete barrier. Come on, people. You're better than this. Let's do this.
Headlines for Tuesday, October 29th.
If it ain't shutting down your lanes, keep going as usual. Blue lights that aren't behind you don't mean slow down. Yeah. I was going 63. I better slow down. That cop on the other side of the concrete barrier you can't see through might pull me over.
Yes. Tell his buddies.
Yeah. Tell his buddies. They'll be waiting for me.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, if you listen to WSB, you get to hear Smiling Mark and Ashley Frasco describe the wreck to you, and they do such a great job of just telling you exactly what's going on over there.
Well, it was a little bit of a mystery. I don't know exactly. Maybe we know now. When I got in the car, I didn't exactly know why. I felt like maybe somebody got killed or something, because it seemed like it was an investigation. All I know, and I feel bad for those people that it happened to and the people who were held up. But the thing is, it shouldn't have affected my life because, as I pointed out, I was heading north where this stuff wasn't happening. But people decided, hey, let's jam things up and slow down. After all, there are blue lights flashing. Yeah, what are you just that easily distracted? Hey, lights are flashing. Well, they have to slow down and investigate. All right, what do we have this morning?
About 330,000 voter registrations in Georgia could soon be canceled, Eric, because registrants haven't participated in elections for several years.
Oh, I thought it was because the Republicans were afraid that Stacey Abrams would run again and then beat them. Isn't this? I mean, this is the way this is being sold. And it's not being questioned by any real reporter that I know of that's being handed this information. It's 100% not true, but who cares? Let's just run with the narrative that the reason this is happening, voter suppression, you know that stupid hipster thing where they go, because, and they just say a name, which I always hate, because lawyers. Because voter suppression. That's the thing you throw in there. Hey, by the way, I'm busy. I have this opinion about voter suppression. I don't have any time to actually look into the issue or read about it, but I have enough time to click on a headline and read the first paragraph. So I'll believe this is about voter suppression. Stacey Abrams, I believe that this is what you...
Thank you.
I know you're trying to lift your voice.
This is suppressing voices. My voice is trying to lift.
Yeah.
I'm trying to lift other people's voices.
Yeah.
Like when you put a boat in water, everything rises.
That's right.
I want everything to rise. And in this case, this is silencing, and that means voices are lowering.
Now, some people would say that, number one, we've always done this. Number two, every other state does it. And number three, the reason it's done is because in the United States of America, you're not born and necessarily live and die in the same place all of your life. You're aware of this, Stacey Abrams. People do move away.
You mean on Earth?
On Earth, yes. What I'm saying is, if I got a job, like radio people, they get jobs. Look at all the competitors that we've put out of work since the von Haessler Doctrine. Well, those poor people, they didn't know they were running into a buzzsaw, and they got to get another job. And a lot of times in radio, you get a job somewhere else.
They should be able to do provisional ballots.
Yeah, that's competitor suppression, Eric.
Yeah,
ballots.
Apparently that's what
Even if they move away,
they should be able to
here.
do. So the idea here, Stacey Abrams, is, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but if I got a job in Seattle tomorrow, I would not call the government of Georgia and inform them that I'm moving from the state of Georgia and will no longer be voting here, at least for a number of years. I don't know if you realize that. You have to absolutely kind of get rid of the deadwood. These are people who aren't voting, and quite likely they're not going to vote, and many of them probably just moved out of the state.
These are people with the potential to vote who have a voice, and their voice is being silenced. Thank you.
Their Georgia voice isn't being silenced. If I moved to Seattle, I'd have a Washington State voice.
You still have a voice in Georgia while you're in Washington, and I think you should be able to share that voice and lift people up.
Why do I fight with reason and logic? And but it doesn't matter. To the people who are going to see this as voter suppression and not take the time to read one damn long article about why this is done, or find out that it's done everywhere, or that it's been done here all the time, or answer my question: did you think about the fact that when people move, they don't inform the government? No, it doesn't matter. People are just going to believe what they believe. Yeah.
But Eric, I read past the first paragraph. I read the second paragraph, and it says the purge comes after Georgia canceled 534,000 registrants in July 2017, the single largest removal of voters in U.S. history.
It sounds like that's something. The only thing is you have to back it up and tell me why it's something. Also, I love the term purge. They're not removing names. Hey, this is the way that it works. If you don't use it, you lose it. You don't. By the way, if your name is taken off the rolls because you haven't voted, you don't lose your right to vote. You simply have to re-register. That's really what it is. But from Stacey Abrams' point of view, no voter, as far as voting goes, should be forced to ever use their mind or their bodies or anything at all in there. The government is supposed to roll up to their house and make sure they vote. Maybe forcible voting would be in the future. There's nothing wrong with a voter having to take, 8 to 12 minutes of their lives to figure out voting. That's not on the state.
How do you do it?
Well,
you gotta mash something?
You know what? I'll bet you there's a YouTube video that'll show you exactly.
What's YouTube?
Well, okay. Well, we got to go back there.
Can you send me a letter?
I will send you a letter that will direct you to the website.
Thank you.
So it's
wait, website?
What's that? Sorry. So the von Haessler Doctrine is here to cut through the clutter, but I think in this one there's it's not really possible. People are going to believe what they believe. Now, if you came back with actual evidence that there was targeting of individuals and they were taken off the rolls and they're actually voters, which I would imagine when you're removing so many people, errors are probably made, then you've got a case. But you can't just use a number that's a big number and then throw a word like purge in there and make a case. You can win the argument because people are basically intellectually lazy, but you've never made the case. So, next story.
Set your iCal.
Listen, Brian Kemp, you're just trying to purge everybody?
Nah, what we're trying to, we got to get rid of the deadwood.
That's right.
I want people to vote who know what they're voting for, not just being, dragged there and told to mash a button.
Oh, okay. So you are truly trying to oppress here is what you're saying.
Well, yeah, kind of.
You want to beat that 2017 record. That's what you're trying to beat.
Yeah, we'd love to. If we could, we'd take about 1 million of them off.
So you just don't feel comfortable with the chances of the Republican Party in a state like Georgia.
It's slender now. Our edge over the Democrats has changed. Thank you, Scott.
It's Eric. That's okay.
Judd.
Next, Eric. Next story.
Set your iCals for 3 p.m. today, guys, because the Atlanta City Council's Public Safety and Legal Admin Committee is going to discuss banning the sale of flavored e-cigarettes.
E-cigarettes.
Or vaping devices.
Vaping devices. Any vaping. So it's the flavored vaping.
Yes.
They don't mind the non-flavor tastes like nothing. I guess it just tastes like...
it tastes like tobacco.
Okay, well, that's a flavor, isn't it?
Well,
isn't tobacco
it's
a flavor?
permissible.
It's a permissible flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't want to jump to conclusions here. This is a hearing, but it sounds to me like Atlanta is headed toward just jumping in line with this silliness. Yeah, I heard somebody this morning from the vaping industry on our air. Do we have that person?
Yes, this is Lisa Gano, and this is what she had to say to Channel 2.
The vaping industry has been saying this since the very beginning, that we believe THC cartridges contaminated with things like vitamin E, acetate, are the source of things like this.
Now, chances are it's black market stuff that isn't approved, where we don't exactly know what in the world is actually causing this. I've heard a couple different theories, that being one of them. And so you're not going to help the situation. If that is true, that it's the black market cartridges that are causing the problems that we're reading about, taking something that's legal and making it illegal isn't going to affect the black market at all. Push more people to the black market, I would imagine, perhaps. But what I like about this is and again, this is only a hearing, so they haven't come up with a law or a ban yet. But this is what I call headline legislating. So, these headlines are big and everybody says it's an epidemic. Again, just like with the first story. I don't know, has anybody clawed their way into the third or fourth paragraph of any story? Do we get past any of the
TLDR?
Yeah, too long didn't read about how this could be nuanced. It's politicians, most of them, do not want to ever feel left behind. And so they chase what the media is throwing out there. The fact is, I think there's a lot of hyperbole here. I think the concept of an epidemic with vaping is silly. If there's a real issue here, we're just starting to study it and find out what it is. But politicians really, for the most part, don't give a damn if they do good or bad. They just don't ever want to be seen as not being relevant. So if you've got a bunch of drummed up headlines about how we got a crisis, well, I'm Eric Von Haessler, and you sent me here to do something about it. So I don't really know what it is, but you sent me here to do something about it. So if I ban it, then, maybe a few people get angry, and let's say an entire industry is wiped out for no good reason, but most people aren't in that industry. But if I don't ban it and it turns out to actually be an epidemic, then you might not vote for me again. So that's if this turns into more headline legislation, that's what's behind it. These politicians don't really know and don't really give a damn, but they just worry about relevance. They look at it, well, if I vote for it and it turns out not to be dangerous, I don't think people are really going to hold that against me. But if I don't vote for it and it turns out down the line to really be dangerous, so I'm just hedging my bets. I'm a politician. What do I believe? Well, whatever you tell me you want me to believe, if that gets you to vote for me again. I'm a politician. So they're drum beating against vaping. Vaping, if it should be outlawed, it'd be one reason only. Because the folks who do it, it appears to change your personality from that of being a halfway decent person to a complete and total D-bag. I'm for D-bag legislation.
What? Check out that cloud, bro. How could I be a douchebag? Look at that crowd.
Yeah, that's the only reason, really, to take it off the market.
Cotton candy grape.
Yeah,
Hey, sir,
I know it's not smoke, but I really don't want to walk through this London fog.
Just water.
Yeah, I know it's just water.
Hey, sir, my laptop's got one USB slot. Can
Can you charge my vape
No,
one?
I've got one USB slot, man.
Charge my cigarette in your USB port.
It's funny now, we're charging everything now. I saw a commercial for glasses with lights in them. Because I'm an old person, so whenever I watch, I see things that help
for a
you.
Cave or something like that?
No, it's just like it's just for that.
Read in bed without bothering your spouse.
Yeah, and they always show like these kind of commercials. Like some guy goes down to to change off the turn on and off the breaker system down in his basement or whatever. You could see. Well, don't you have a light in the room? There's somebody else. But now, and it's easily rechargeable. And they showed the guy plugging his glasses in. There'll be a time when we just plug everything in. There's going to be an electronic version of everything that you have to plug in.
E-Q-tip. Plug it in and charge it. Clean out your wax.
That's right. It's just one Q-tip.
Subscriber-based.
Yeah, subscriber-based.
You're going to do one every week.
Yes. You never have to go out and blow, I don't know, $1.95 on 3,000 Q-tips ever again. You subscribe to your E-tip.
E-tip.
Your E-tip. That should be my newsletter that goes out.
Eric's E-tips.
Eric's E-tips.
E-tip of the day.
Hey, kids. Don't stand in the rain in the middle of the street. That's your E-tip for the day. Remember Fonzie on Happy Days? He had some sort of tip that his mother told him. I can't remember what it was. Never wear your socks in the rain.
Yeah.
All that Fonzie wisdom sticks with me, and it always will.
Irreverent.
Entertaining.
Gut-busting.
Very funny. And doesn't toe any party line.
I think it's a great show.
The Von Haessler Doctrine on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
You got some open mics while I clear my throat?
Yeah, these are all from the WSB Radio app.
By the way, I know people might be thinking, Eric, you just had 4 minutes to clear your throat. Why didn't? Because I'm not professional, that's why. Hold on. All right, go ahead. We got some open mics.
Yep, I guess you're not listening to any of these idiots.
Okay. It took a long time, but somebody finally not only figured it out, but put us in our place.
Yep, I guess you're not listening to any of these idiots.
Got to tip your cap when you've been beaten, when you've been bested. So I tip my cap to that fella. Next.
Darn you, Eric Von Haessler. I stayed up late to watch these Hawks. Now I'm invested. They look really good. Ugh.
Yeah, this is the thing. You got to do what I do. Now, first of all, they lost by 2, but they looked really good in the first half. That's all I know because, look, what are there? It's 83 games. There's over 80 games.
Yes.
I can't watch every one of them. Most of them start. So I go to bed at halftime and get up and read the next day, and then I watch the ones maybe Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So that's you can't watch every NBA game. At least I can't when you're into a team. And by the way, is that Trae Young video up anywhere yet that we can send people to?
We're about to post it up on our Instagram, Facebook, and our YouTube page.
He was super cool, and if you want to just know that this guy was in the middle of his practice, and we walk in, and he starts, playing around and being awesome with us. I like him. He's a superstar budding right here in Atlanta. So go see him, for heaven's sakes, but don't stay up too late. You don't want to be too tired at work.
Yep, I guess you're not listening to any of these idiots.
Busted. See, this happens. I get irked about something, and I'm not really mad about it. I'm just irked. But I come off as if I'm mad. We have that Trae Young video, which I think will be up very soon.
Oh, yeah.
And just some people, we are part of the problem. I have to tell you this, Jared. When we do our things, video and things like that, I just think we have just put them where we're going to put them. And I don't want to be dealing with anybody else anymore. Just so we make our videos, we put them where we want to put them. I'm just not interested in feedback that is absurd and ridiculous because there are elements in our management that do not seem to understand that this show is not sniffing behinds of the audience. We're not chasing anything. We're not going and looking for anything. We do things. We plant our flag. We make things available, and then if the audience wants to follow, the audience can follow. Most of the things that we do are interesting enough that the audience does follow. If they don't, then that's fine too. But I never again in my email want to see the phrase, we'll see what the watch through. What is it when somebody clicks but then they watch all the way through?
Yeah.
Attention, everybody at WSB. Eric Von Haessler does not give a damn about how many clicks or how long the watch through was. We are not searching for an audience. The audience is damn lucky to have us. Although we love the audience, they're damn lucky to live in a town that has this show every day available to them for free. And then we just make things available and let chips fall where they may. I'm not angry. It's just a little bit annoying to me. A show like this does not pander. We're not looking for an audience. If the video's 4.5 minutes long, it's up to people to decide if they want to make it all the way through. The host doesn't give a damn. He's moved on. Speaking of moving on, let's do this.
Tech Tuesday with Greg Russ.
See, we become part of the problem because people have shrinking attention spans, and then rather than just leading, media used to lead. This show leads. Hey, people only have an attention span of 17 seconds, so make everything 17 seconds. If you think watching a video that's 4.5 minutes long, you think that's long, try watching a full game. Sometimes they're over 2 hours. Can you believe it? Hey, Greg, how are you?
Hey, Eric, let me tell you, the listen through on my end of that rant was about 6 seconds.
Oh, gosh. I have all of these stats coming against me, yet the audience growing and growing and growing. Sometimes people like to be led.
Here's one thing I'd like to point out. For the longest time, people said, 2-hour movie, no way, nobody's going to watch that. Movies are up to 3 hours now. If you have good content, people will stick around.
That's exactly correct, and I just don't like the idea. That's why this show, and Greg, this show, we do research because we want to know where we could get better, things like that. But what we don't do is we never ask the audience what you want to hear. Isn't it refreshing as an audience member to know that the host does not give a damn what you want to hear? The host would tune into your podcast. If that's what I want. The host's job and the doctrinaires around me is to put on a show that you want to listen to, that you will lose your job because you sit in the parking lot waiting for the end rather than getting to work on time. That's what I'm really, if you're losing your job, if you're putting your work life at peril, then I'm doing my job. That's how I judge myself.
Then we get them listening at home to their Amazon Alexa device.
What in the world is 4.5 minutes long that feels a little too long?
It's too long.
What has happened in this country?
Can't watch it.
All right. I'm not
Why
angry.
would people want to put in the work for their entertainment? That's
Right.
something you tune in, you can turn off your brain for a little bit, or it makes you think in a different way if you're not completely turning off your brain. This isn't stupid content.
Sure.
I didn't mean to present it that way. You're getting people to think, surely.
Well, I mean, this is a shooting hoops with Trey Young. It's not, you're not going to learn anything new about Shakespeare. It's just a fun little piece.
Oh, you're talking about the video. I'm talking about this show in general. You're talking about that video.
I'm talking about the video and the back and forth and the.
I just like to watch people get hit in the face with stuff.
I just from now on, we just do all of our own video stuff, and we just don't even tell the wider company about it. We just do our thing, and eventually what'll happen is somebody will go, "Hey, how come everybody's looking at Von Haessler's stuff?" I know, because he was leading while we were following. That's what happened. All right, now what's going on in Tech Tuesday?
Doctors are warning of an eye stroke epidemic after a man was blinded by a phone game. He was playing his phone games in the dark.
Oh, he was playing his phone games in the that could be a lot of things, because there's a lot of things you can do with your phone, but it's a large area. Phone
He claims
games.
he was playing his phone games in the dark. Now this happened in China.
Yeah.
The doctors there said it was an eye stroke. Here's a grain of salt I'm handing you, Eric.
Yes. And this is what I should take this story with? That grain of salt you just handed me?
Doctors here in the U.S. are saying that eye strokes, very rare, usually 1% of people, and they're older who already are having clogged arteries and problems like that.
So what happens?
So this could be transient smartphone blindness, which is a temporary loss of sight in one eye caused by constant phone use, playing the phone games in the dark.
Well, listen, I think the Von Haessler Doctrine is here to help out, and we're here to say, kids, don't play phone games in the dark. Always have some backlighting or something like. In an eye stroke, though, or whatever happened to this guy, is it one eye goes blind for a temporary amount of time, and the other eye can still see, or something?
Well, there's the details on this exact story aren't fully out.
Oh,
so an eye stroke can lead to permanent blindness, and they don't know if it's one eye or two eyes.
Okay.
So this is another reason I hand you that grain of salt.
Well, given, I can use the grain of salt because I'm 55 years old, and it's the first time I'm ever hearing of an eye stroke. I would imagine if it was happening a lot around me in my life, like heart attacks. I've heard about them since I was 5 or 6. They seem to happen quite a bit to human beings. So, but if you make it to 55, and that's the first time you ever hear of some sort of medical condition, it's probably rare, and you don't have to worry about it. Although playing your phone games in the dark. It just seems to me, even if you don't have an eye stroke, you could fall off the chair. You could if you're walking in the dark playing your phone games. There's all kinds of horrible things that can happen.
Hit by a car.
Yeah,
it's no different than any bright light in your eye. This has happened to me before. I can't sleep, and I'm making those noises in my bed alone in the middle of the night. I'll pull out the phone, you look at it, and then if you look away, it's kind of burned into your retina for a little bit, and you can't make out what's actually in front of you.
Yeah, and also I've got to the point now where I have those floaties. Is that what you call them? Like a little floaters.
Yeah.
Little eye floaters.
I have those. Those suck.
Yeah, and they used to bother you. It's one of those things that they bother you until you recognize, oh, I don't care anymore. Then they don't bother you. I haven't even hardly noticed them. But when you first start getting them, you get real concentrated on them, so you see them a lot.
Can I tell you something? I had a conversation with Autumn about these, and she thought they were things on top of your eye. She didn't.
Yeah, I didn't realize they were. I didn't know that they were actually in the goo of your eye.
So you thought that there was just something on the lens, and you needed to clean it off?
Well, that you would just blink and that you were like sweeping it away out of your lens, but I guess they're in your
fiber that breaks off the back of your eye and then just floats in the fluid.
Is that the truth? Because that sounds like
where's your fiber?
Macro degeneration.
Maybe I should be taking less fiber. My doctor tells me to take more fiber.
Not that kind of fiber, muscle fiber.
Okay, so I can still take my Metamucil.
You can.
Got to work those eyes out, Eric.
Metamucil, what an old man.
Well, I get the generic stuff if that makes me seem more relevant and kid-friendly.
That does work for me because I also get the generic stuff.
It's better, I think.
Yeah.
But you know what generic not to buy? Don't buy the generic ibuprofen because you want that Advil, that candy-coated shell.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
that's the only good thing about taking an Advil besides getting rid of the headache is the candy.
The pros know how to do it, that's for sure. Don't get the generic ibuprofen, kids.
Advil gel caps, those are the best.
Well, you guys are experts.
Take 4.
But
I'm more of a migraine Excedrin.
You're an Excedrin guy.
Yeah, I'm an Excedrin guy.
You've got to watch that acetaminophen, though.
That's what they keep telling me.
I don't need a liver.
I just figure, they wouldn't have so much of it available if it was really that bad. The libertarian who trusts the FDA to keep him alive. All right, next story.
Spotify has reached 113 million paying subscribers, and that means it's growing twice as fast as Apple Music.
Oh, well, Spotify, people hung on to it. When Apple, because Apple has had some pretty great growth because they basically started at zero a few years ago.
Yeah,
and I'm a walled garden kind of guy. I like my life being run by one party, the Apple Party, the Apple dictatorship makes it easier for me.
You're having an Apple Party.
That's exactly what happened.
The spirit of competition dead in Eric's.
No. I've looked at the competitors. I very much want there to be competitors. I think the competitors make my walled garden that much better.
That's fair.
But yeah, so. Next story.
That's it. The end.
The end.
All right. Uber has unveiled their new delivery drone for their Uber Eats platform. This thing is. Have you seen a picture of this?
Yeah, I don't understand. Is this really a future that we're does it knock at my door? I guess it just tells me by my phone, hey, I'm hovering outside your front door with your spaghetti marinara.
They're experimenting. They're experimenting in different ways. So either it's going to come straight to your house, but they don't know if that's going to work. So it could go to a designated area where Uber Eats drivers are waiting, and then they grab the food off the drone, or they're practicing landing these things on top of the driver's cars.
That's not a good idea. My cats jump on my car, and they put scratches on it. The drones are going to scratch the top of the car. No! It would drop on top of the delivery.
I think it would land.
Yeah, there's the future. Hey, your pizza's here. What?
Yeah.
Wow, yeah. Everybody in the neighborhood ordered because it's Sunday and we're all watching TV.
Excuse me, drone. I didn't want onions. Can I return this?
This wasn't here in 5 minutes.
All right.
I would like to see one of these drones delivered to a bee sanctuary. There's a bunch of swarms of bees.
I don't see. So what you were saying was it would drop on top of the delivery driver's car, right?
Yeah, that's one of the things they're working on.
There, the driver would go to the restaurant anyway. I mean, somebody's got to put the damn thing on the drone. Now, is this am I getting this wrong? Did you say Uber Eats or is this all delivery?
This is Uber Eats.
Yeah, okay, so this is food.
This is food. It can carry 2 meals.
But I know, but this is how Uber Eats works. They go to the restaurant and they pick up the food. How is the drone going to do that?
So the drone is going to fly to the restaurant.
And then somebody's going to attach it
Somebody's going to load it into the carrying bay. It's going to take off. It's got an 18-mile round trip.
Yeah.
I mean, that's its range. Anything within 18 miles, it's going to fly, whatever, maybe it lands on the car, maybe it goes straight to the person's house. What if the person keeps it? What if the person smashes it? Those scooters in Atlanta and other cities that have those scooters, people hate them and they throw them off of bridges, they break them.
Well, because of this noise, hit that with the future of the droning noise, people will be shooting these things out of their yards all the time. It's going to be a complete menace.
Oh, got me some Chinese food.
You know what? I can predict the future when drones really take off. They'll be, we got too much noise pollution, and we got to regulate. And Uber Eats says they will only deliver droning before, and they'll stop at 9 p.m. and blah blah blah. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in the drone revolution. I think there's things that drones can do. That I've said it before. If you are dependent on a medicine for a chronic condition, and you live out in the middle of nowhere, you live way out in rural areas,
you get bit by a snake.
Well, I don't know.
You need that anti-venom?
I don't know about an emergency situation. I'm saying if you have a chronic thing.
Oh, no, you have an app on your phone that'll get right to you.
I mean, even that may seem ridiculous, but because that means that I have to open the package and know how to put the anti-venom in. And I don't know.
I think it's just for show. It's a trend right now. Look at us. Our technology company's leading the way because we have drone.
Yeah, I just don't see that future where we're all relying on drones. It's like flying cars. It's just not going to happen. What a wonderful future. Hey! Isn't it beautiful outside? All right, Gregory, you got another Tech Tuesday story in your sack?
Yeah, Samsung launched a space selfie device.
A space selfie device. Now, first you have to explain exactly what that is.
Well, they just launched it into space because they wanted to get a unique view of planet Earth as the black backdrop.
Okay, so it was a selfie for the planet.
Yes.
Okay.
And then it crashed down in a Michigan woman's backyard.
Well, that's not what they expected. Well, they knew it was going to crash down at some point, right? How far?
So.
Was it up there on a balloon or something? I don't remember any kind of launch from Cape Canaveral.
I didn't hear anything about this. It's the first that it's coming up, which is why I find it interesting that they're launching this thing that, it ties into the way our society is. A space selfie. People should be all over this.
Yeah.
And then I heard nothing about it.
Until it crashed into this lady's backyard.
Yeah, it was a balloon.
So the whole balloon crashed, or was it just the phone?
Well, at the point the balloon's gone, and then there's solar panels on it, and there's the box where the camera is housed. So the whole unit came crashing down.
I see, but nobody was harmed in the making of this.
Nobody was
selfie?
harmed. I brought this up because I thought that you would like it since you're not big into selfies. I just wanted to.
No, I'm not.
Try to boost your mood a little bit.
My question: why would we want to put the Earth and make it as stupid as people are? I hate to be. I sound a little grouchy today. I'm not really grouchy. I fail to see what you have in a selfie. To be honest with you, now. Getting your picture taken in front of that's something that's been done for a very long time. But I don't really understand what people get out of that. Hey, I'm standing here with this person doing this. And okay.
Well, I've brought this up before.
If it's the Pope, I understand.
Well, now hear the music.
Yeah, well, go ahead.
When Apollo 11 went to the moon, Michael Collins had to stay on board, and the lunar lander was in front of him. He took a picture of that in the whole Earth. So everything was in front of him. These days, he'd put his face in it.
That's exactly right. Because know this, kids, you're the biggest star in the world. No matter who you are. No matter how much of a loser. Still living in your mom's basement? In selfie land, you're still the biggest rock star in the universe. Don't forget it. Hour 2 of the Von Haessler Doctrine begins right now. I'm Stepmaster Von Haessler, your master of ceremonies.
And steps.
And steps. Somebody called me that as I was walking this time. Stepmaster. I'm like, okay.
Who called you that?
I don't know.
No.
I just hear it, being yelled at me.
Debbie.
I like it. Was it Debbie in the office?
Hi.
Hi,
Stepmaster.
Yeah, calls me the Stepmaster. I don't know. She's a very Halloween kind of voice there, Debbie. Really getting into the season. You used to have the Talkmaster. Now you have the Stepmaster. I admit.
Okay, I get it.
I admit it's a step down for given that the medium is radio, but Stepmaster Von Haessler. I want to clear up something before I was talking about research. I said, well, we do some research, but I want people to know it never has anything to do with content. There is some research that's done, but it's all to do with marketing, promotion. How do you better, for instance, I think it was, when did we do this? Like 2 months ago or so, we started the show. We started doing the show. We opened the show now 4 minutes earlier than we did the rest of the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a result. That's a result of research. So we do research, but we never ask a question about content or what you want to hear. You take it or leave it. That's the way
that's
I like
right.
it.
That's
And
right.
Clive Cliverson, my radio guru / consultant. I think I'm just going to fire you. I realize
Why
now
is that?
I'm the visionary.
I work
here.
for free.
I'm the visionary here. I'm the visionary. I'm willing to lead. My belief. I've met some good consultants now since I've been working here.
Oh, you don't like my idea of cutting that video down to 10-second snippets and posting it over the course of a month?
The video is 4.5 minutes long. How could there be? Might be too long.
People are dumb.
What are you supposed to do? Say, hey, I'm Eric. That's Jared. Here's Trey Young. Goodbye. Thanks. All right. That's about the attention span of the audience. Does that really need?
Well, listen, Eric, I do work for you, so
Now you're pandering to me.
I work with Jared to help him out a little bit. Just to tell you.
That's some good coaching, huh?
Yeah,
4.5 minutes. Let me ask you this. Let's look in the realm of love and pleasing one another. Has any partner ever said 4.5 minutes? That seems a little long to me.
I never made it that long.
The answer is no. All right.
2.5 in, I'm like, boom, when is this over?
Well, you've had a couple of kids.
When is
goes
Below
away.
Deck coming back on?
It goes away after a couple of kids, I think,
Now,
sometimes.
if I'm there for an hour,
Yeah.
that's the kind of thing I worry about,
You don't want to hang around too long.
Well, I'm only there for an hour, and, I pay $300-$400, and then it's over. I don't worry about it.
He's a radio consultant. They pay for all their sex. Oh, you have
I have some more research for you. You were wondering what selfies are good for, and I happen to have researchinestonia.com pulled up. And
Estonia.com.
Yes, and
So it's called researchinestonia.com.
That's right.
So if you want, is Estonia known for the best? Are they known for
the best,
the quality of their research all the way around?
The best.
Hey, look, I'll tell you what. You go back, you get me Estonian numbers on that stuff, and maybe we'll implement your 5-year plan.
They need to start doing our research.
Absolutely.
Hey, wait a minute.
I'm going to farm it out.
Hey,
Clive Cliverson.
Don't trust them. They're Russians.
I'm going to farm it out. The Estonia research in Estonia says 4.5 minutes is just a fine length for a Trey Young video.
Fake news.
The other thing was, I know his audience will know who Jared is, but maybe the wider crowd wouldn't know.
Yeah, old people don't know.
Who cares? Maybe somebody would be bothered to find out. Go ahead.
So research in Estonia says that selfies depict values and improve self-understanding in individuals.
That's not true.
And
that's not true. I've done no research, and I've never been to Estonia, and I can tell you that's not true. Selfies do not. What is it supposed to improve your self? What did you say?
It improves.
It doesn't improve your
self-understanding.
It certainly doesn't improve your self-awareness because obviously you have no idea. You look like the biggest d-bag in the room right now. Let's get a selfie with the chocolate fountain.
Well, what about this?
Smile. Is it possible somebody else in this restaurant is a bigger d-bag than you right now? No, the answer is no.
Katrine Tittenberg, associate professor.
This is a family show.
Yeah,
Katrine
Jared.
Tittenberg.
What's your phraseology?
Oh, the humanity.
She's an associate professor of social media and visual culture at Tallinn University and has been researching selfies.
I take it all back with a title like that. Give me her title again. You spoke too fast.
She is associate professor of social media and visual culture at Tallinn University, and she has been.
I think it's good she got a job there at Tallinn University because I don't think that really gets you many jobs in this world.
She's been researching.
People go to college to get a degree that will only get them a job on a college campus. There's no way.
My degree is college.
Yeah, my plan: just stay put.
Yeah.
She says that she's been researching selfies for 7 years now.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
And while in the early...
And she can't handle a 4.5 minute video with Trey Young? 7 years on selfie research? I think people have longer attention spans than we give them credit for.
She got her
7 years. She got her PhD in selfology.
PhD in selfology, yeah. And she said she was...
Selfology? No, I'd made that up. When she get her PhD
I got a doctorate in that.
Well, it would be, I guess, social media communication.
Yeah.
And she says at first she was more interested in people's behavior on social media and how it affected their identity. Mm-hmm. But then she soon discovered the power of images, saying, quote, I did not expect that, but selfies dragged me along and abducted me.
Oh, and now. Certainly, you get more self-awareness, or what was it, self-understanding.
Self-understanding.
I can understand, well, my duck lips look good in that one, and my duck lips don't look good in that one. So there's some self-understanding.
It's Narcissus, right? It's Narcissus. Wasn't his name? He's looking in the water.
Narcissus is looking in the water. He saw his own reflection. And then he just froze there or something, right? He couldn't stop looking.
Maybe he fell in. I don't know.
He fell in love with himself. Eventually, you got to have to fall asleep and fall in. But he fell in love with himself.
So that's what's happening.
Yeah.
It's not like you're learning about yourself. We're just animals looking at our own images.
Wow,
right? Looking at our own in the mirror.
Yeah, and well, we're better animals because my cat sees his own image. He thinks it's another cat. So
well, that's what separates us from the beasts.
That is right. And why shouldn't we fall in love with our own images in that case?
I like the image of me as a clown on Snapchat. It's really hot.
Is that
I
really
like looking at it over and over.
Oh, you
I like those.
I'm a kitty cat.
I'm a jack-o'-lantern.
Oh, is that the stuff where I see stuff where I don't see it actually in social media because I don't really go there, but sometimes in a story or something, and there'll be pictures in the story, and then there'll be people, usually under the age of 40, and they have there's something on the lens that makes them look like a dog.
Oh yeah,
or
yeah,
a cat.
Snapchat.
And what is the value of that? Now, let's say that
it's fun.
Let's say that the first time you ever saw it, it was the funniest damn thing you ever saw. At this point, what is the point? Hey, I'm a cat.
Well, it makes Jessica look cute, you know? See, she likes having little puppy ears on and everything.
I swear to you, Steve Jobs is actually lucky, strangely enough, that was it pancreatic cancer took him so early. I believe he was 56 years of age. I believe that if he were alive today and he saw how people were using the technology and what they were using it for, I believe that had he not died then, he would probably kill himself now. So it's a good thing. All right, let's do this.
More headlines for Tuesday, October 29th.
That's not why Jobs got in. Steve Jobs thought that if computers could do the mundane stuff, it would free up our minds and everyone would become an artist. Can you believe this? This is what he thought. He thought that the reason that people are not creative in their lives is because they got so much mundane stuff they've got to do over and over and over again. And he thought if we create products that will do the mundane stuff for you, then you will be your mind will be freed and unleashed to be creative in your endeavors. And it turns out, no, we just want to know what the new emojis are. Man. What a letdown.
Speaker Pelosi said that the House is planning to vote this Thursday on a resolution to formalize and establish the parameters of the Trump impeachment inquiry.
Well, she's giving in to a little bit of the pushback that came from, well, they're having all this stuff behind closed doors, and it's called the SCIF, because the meeting room, because it's supposed to be a secure room. But every time somebody's done talking in there, the Washington Post and CNN know everything the Democrats want them to know. So I don't know why you would meet in a secure room if it's going to come out anyway. So this puts this will put the hearings in public, which CNN probably loves because then they can.
There's only one place for it all. CNN.com/impeachment.
Yeah. Who's the person who can't get enough impeachment? This is like sports. I don't care how I'm becoming so different in the way my approach to sports. I still love sports. And I love my teams, and I love also the wider leagues, right? And I realized that I only just have to watch the game. Watching people talk about what's going to happen in the game has no influence on the game. And then once I've watched the game, I know what I saw. So I don't really need to listen to a bunch of people talk about what I saw. And this is really, whether you want the guy impeached or if you think it's a travesty that they're impeaching him, ultimately, he either will or won't be impeached. And if he is, then they'll go to a trial in the Senate. Why do you need, who are the people who need this?
There's only one place for it all. CNN.com/impeachment.
When are they going to get it? When are they going to do it? I got to look right now. Are they done it yet?
What happened today?
Are they done it yet? Oh, no. What happened this minute?
Wait, I saw another story here. It says somebody else corroborated that thing that guy said in secret that we only heard the stuff the Democrats wanted us to hear. Did you hear that?
Yeah, of course I did. I'm on here all day. I got alerts there now.
CNN.com/impeachment.
Oh, God. The Trump impeachment inquiry. There's stories everywhere. Live updates, analysis.
At least this will. But then again, didn't Nancy Pelosi say it's not an impeachment resolution? But at the very least, though, it's going to force everyone to get on the record in the House, and that's as it should be. I don't know that it's anti-constitutional if you don't do it, but it's as it should be because the checks and balances for trying to remove a president is, well, you have to run for re-election in the House every 2 years, so you should be on the record as to whether or not. Because that's the only price to be paid here is political. Now, if you get on the record and a majority in your district is in favor of that, then that's fine too. Let politics handle this. It's a political thing.
Now, Sean Hannity was on top of that last night. He had when he was mentioning he considered it a victory for the Republicans because he was showing the vulnerable House districts on a ticker on the left side of them.
This is the Republicans are happy about this. This is why Pelosi didn't want to do it at first, because although AOC got most of the headlines as the new face, the new voice when the Democrats took the House over, the truth is the reason the Democrats were able to take back the House was because an awful lot of middle of the roaders, an awful lot of people who aren't so progressive, won in states that Trump had won 2 years earlier. So they have to walk a line. Obviously, their people are for balance, but they don't hate the president because they voted for him. So it's important to get these people on the record. And so as far as that goes, it's a good thing. Do you have Pelosi?
I don't have Pelosi.
Oh, I thought you had Pelosi. Go ahead.
I don't have Pelosi speaking about that, but I do have a poll for you.
What is for? He says Pelosi, it's not an impeachment resolution.
Well, I'll play that then.
Yeah.
Speaker, do we have you talk about the impeachment resolution? It's not an impeachment resolution.
When are they going to vote for articles of impeachment? Isn't that supposed to be, I don't know, resolution, inquiry? These are all goofy words. If you're going to impeach the guy, turn on the spotlight and let's do it, and then turn yourselves over to the judgment of the American people. That's the way it's supposed to be done. Hit me with another story there, Yamamoto.
Hundreds of employees signed a letter opposing Facebook's policy of allowing unchecked lies in political ads.
Oh, the letter was to Mark Zuckerberg, their boss. First of all, they're wrong on the issue. The idea being that Zuckerberg has said, I think the American people should be able to suss out political ads. I don't want to get into the business of deciding what's real and what's not real. What people need to understand who work at Faceback, that's a new one.
Yeah.
That's my new one.
Competitor.
Faces on both sides.
Yes.
There's no downside in Faceback. But what they need to understand is that it's not their place. Look, these people believe that the truth is what they believe. And anything in a political ad that you disagree with, from the point of view of these people, it needs to be taken out because I know the truth. So, there are people in this world who do not believe that climate change is the threat that most people are telling us it is. Now, is that true? Is it not true? Who cares? Do you have the right to say that that's your opinion? My feeling is if that was in a political ad, these 250 employees would say, no, that's fiction. See, what's happening here is you're going to rule that anyone who disagrees with you is peddling fiction, and the politicians that you like are telling the truth. If this were to go into place where these employees could decide what's false and what's truth in a political ad, about how many times do you think that they would agree with the Republican side and disagree with the Democrat? How often? And Zuckerberg is correct. Leave it up to the American people. They'll be able to figure this out. I think that there are certain things that they would remove if they were 2 + 2 = 4. Like, for instance, he answered the question. If it said the election will be held on Wednesday, whatever, and it's going to be on Tuesday, they would remove that, but not opinions. But these kids confuse their opinions with truth. Their opinion equals truth, and they want to be able to legislate that. But even more important than that, how about the way that things are fed to us? Hundreds of Facebook employees call on Mark Zuckerberg to change the social network's controversial rules on political ads. And it says here 250 workers. Wow, he must have a rebellion on his hands. Oh, wait a minute. Anybody, how many? Let's look at how this headline could have been written to better reflect truth. Anybody know how many employees work for Facebook, all told?
10,000.
20,000.
Autumn, just guess.
17. $1, Bob.
17. 35,587.
Wow.
So the story is that 250 people signed a letter to Mark Zuckerberg. The headline could be 35,000 Facebook employees perfectly happy with Zuckerberg's political ad policy. Now, you might think this is a little bit much, Jared, but I have a new rule after all of this Trey Young video thing.
Okay.
By the way, we can't tell people where it is yet, right?
Not yet.
It'll be up soon.
It'll be up very soon.
And it's just, I think you'll find he's just a cool guy. It's not hilarious or anything. It's just, you'll just find there's a cool guy in the middle of his practice. Stop by and have a little fun with us. And Jared would not take his instructions. He was twice in the video. You hear him go, dribble between your legs. And Jared thought he would look silly, so he didn't do it. He thought he looked silly with his jeans on, so he didn't do it. But this is my new rule after seeing the back and forth. I get a little, I'm annoyed. I'm not angry. And I get a little annoyed. I think maybe I just saw the sausage being made here, and maybe you should never let me see the sausage being made. But one of the higher-ups saying, it seems a little long to me. It's 4.5 minutes long. Didn't seem long to me. And then there was this kind of afterthought in there, like, well, put it up there, and we'll see what is it called when people watch all the way through?
I think it's the view back, right?
The view through or something like that.
Watch through?
The watch through. We'll see what the watch through numbers are. You know why that annoys me? Because there's like some kind of implicit thing there, like, well, if it gets good watch through, we'll keep putting Von Haessler's videos on there. But hey, I got news for WSB. The interview part is over. All right, so here is the new rule. This is the Eric Von Haessler. I'm not banning WSB because I work for them, but there's a moratorium. You understand me, Jared? No, I mean this. All video and extra stuff that we do for the next 3 months, we put on our own Instagram and our own Facebook, and the rest of the WSB social stuff does not have a right to it for 3 months. You got it? Look, he looks scared.
All right.
He looks frightened. I'm not going to be judged by whether or not... This is the best show in America. I'm not going to be judged by, I don't know if there's any view through, the watch through, and we're not going to be judged by that. It's like, you know what? Okay, we just won't go to your party. How about that? I'm picking up my football. I'm going home, and we'll keep it in-house.
Man, this has really got you fired up.
Little things annoy me because what it shows me is there are people above me who do not understand what the value of this show. This show's value is a little bit different than other shows, and if it's going to be maximized, it needs to be understood. And number one, we do not pander to the audience. If the audience starts having an attention span about the length of your average ferret, that doesn't mean that this show is going to do that. All right? Every once in a while, we're going to challenge our audience. And this isn't even a challenge. It's just a fun little video. It's not that big of a deal. 3-month moratorium. Other social media sites besides our own at WSB are not allowed any of our content for 3 months. All right. There's no sounder for this. This is a This is a new segment that I came up with last night after I did much research. I called everybody in the audience and I asked them, "What kind of new segment do you want?" They told me, and now I'm going to vomit it back at you.
More impeachment.
No, I was just sitting there thinking, there's a lot of stories sometimes that just make me go, "Oh, come on." So I wanted to name this segment, "Oh, come on." And then I realized...
isolate that, Jared. Go back and isolate him saying that.
Well, I don't know that I'm going to keep it that way because ESPN has a segment called "Come On, Man." It's kind of the same thing.
Maybe it should just be an old man noise, like the noise you would make after reading something you're annoyed by.
How about, then I thought maybe call it "Knock It Off." That's a little too forceful.
Yeah.
So how about "Give Me a Break"? Give me a break.
Give me a break.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Yeah, and then people will think about candy.
Yeah.
And
Nell Carter.
Clive likes that with Halloween being around the corner, too.
Yes.
Gets people...
trick-or-treat.
Quick state of mind. So maybe we'll call it "Give Me a Break." These are stories that make me just go, I don't even know if I have one side or the other, but I just, give me a break. So this is the sounder for now. Dun 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 dun. Give me a break. What about the Doctrine voice lady? She's right here. It's time for the stories that Eric's had enough of.
It's time for the stories that Eric's had enough of. He's grumpy. He's old. Oh, come on.
No, it's "Give Me a Break" now.
Oh, give me a break.
Oh, Doctrine voice lady.
Sorry.
The entire world is letting me down.
Yesterday was my birthday, and so I'm a little on the struggle bus.
Was yesterday your birthday?
Yes, it was. It was Kara's birthday.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. Well,
October 28th, 2019.
Happy birthday. And what's today's date?
Today is October 29th, 2019.
And we're doing what segment here?
Who knows? It's what Eric's grumpy about.
Very good. All right. So you throw me I'm supposed to be interested in this, and I got a feeling my response is going to be,
This first story comes from The Mirror, which is a British tabloid. It says, "How to adjust your sleep ready for clocks going back.
That doesn't make any sense. How to adjust your sleep
It's British.
ready?
It doesn't explain. Done. I'll write the headline verbatim. How to adjust your sleep ready for clocks going back so you don't get tired.
Give me a break. Look, the clocks move forward and back twice a year. Am I wrong about this?
Yes.
Twice a year, we go through forward, back.
It's tough.
It's not tough.
No.
It's not tough. It's never been tough for anybody. No one has ever genuinely been late for work the next day. Did you know that? Because there is no next day. You get a full day in between. It happens Saturday at 2 or Sunday at 2 in the morning, right? You get was it Friday into Saturday or Saturday
into Sunday?
Saturday into Sunday. You get a full day. It's not like you have to be at work that morning. So anybody who's ever said, sorry, I was late this morning, the clock's changed, well, that's not true. Because if that were true, just as many people would be showing up to work an hour early when the clocks went in the other direction. And that never happens. That never happens. So this is a story. This is lazy reportage. Okay, it's clock turning forward or backward. All right, let's do those stories. And people read them in this water cooler talk. But no one in history has genuinely actually had a problem with the time change. Politically, they might think that's stupid. I'm in favor or not in favor. But no one's body clock, has severely ever been damaged by gaining or losing an hour.
Dr. Sarah Kayette explains why sleep is so important and what you can do this weekend to adjust to the clocks going back.
Sleep is important every day.
I've never
of
thought
your life.
about sleep being important before.
Wow, it took this whole clock thing. That's why?
You get an extra hour this weekend.
Yeah, but then they get all upset when you lose the hour.
Big deal.
Now you get an extra hour. It has no effect. Do not read the story. I'm saying, give me a break. This is not a story. It's not. A story should affect somebody. No one has ever genuinely been affected.
No, like you're saying, just get over it.
Yeah, it's like
I went to bed later than I meant to, or I stayed up a little later, or whatever.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. You don't need PhDs to come in and help you deal with the fact that you're gaining or losing
Dr.
an hour.
Barbara Feinstein. Everyone, I've done the research, and sleep, it turns out, is very important for the body.
I have been staring at clocks for 7 years in my research.
People are more tired when they go to bed later and wake up early. Studies show.
Whoa, did you do that study?
I did.
So let me get
I'm
this
a professional.
Let me get this straight, Professor. You tell me.
Yes.
That in your study, you found.
My many studies.
Yeah, you found that if people go to sleep later and wake up earlier, they're tired the next day.
Yes, I know it's shocking. We all were surprised. Our hypothesis was totally incorrect. We thought that people, the less they slept, the more awake they'd be.
Yeah, it didn't turn out that way.
It didn't turn out. We're also looking at hunger, and when you don't eat, and see how hungry you are.
You get more.
Well, our results are astounding us, honestly.
Yeah. So the less you eat, the hungrier you get.
Surprising.
Thank
I thought
God.
the less you ate, the more full.
Yeah.
We weren't sure.
The more satiated. You thought the satiation factor.
Yes, it's a satiation factor ratio of 1 to 9.
Well, thank God we've got scientists like you.
Yeah, we need to find some way to make sure that my microwave clock changes every time, because I'm confused. I mean, that is my primary clock that I use.
Well, it's up to you, unless you got one of those fancy.
You have a microwave on your bedside
They do it themselves now. They're smart. They do it themselves.
Oh, do they do that? Oh, what? Your microwave is hooked up to is it?
No, but it has a
big
computer in it.
It's got a computer and it just.
Check your privilege, Tim. Not everybody has a future microwave.
I have an analog microwave. Thank you very much. I got the rich just keep getting richer.
Mine has a crank.
Yeah. All right, what's next in the stories I don't care about?
How about this one? This is from
I might care. It's just that the headline makes me go, eh.
This is from USA Today.
Yeah?
John
They're
Legend.
still around?
Yeah, they're still around.
Okay.
Put pictures and stuff on
I'll
things.
believe you. Even in hotel rooms, I see them.
Yeah, you get it for free.
Get it for free.
John Legend and Kelly Clarkson to release updated version of Baby It's Cold Outside.
Oh.
Seen the lyrics to this thing?
Give me a break. Are they out there?
Yeah, some of them.
I don't need to see them. First of all, let's go back to the original version of Baby It's Cold Outside. I was thinking about this last night. So the whole concept here is he's a predator, right? We've been celebrating a predator. She wants to leave. But in reality, because of the Me Too thing, which, obviously isn't all bad. It's good to respect women in the workplace and everywhere else. We don't have to go overboard and make charm. We don't have to outlaw charm because of this. But just, common sense, respect people, show respect for people. But because, a couple of years ago, was it last Christmas really that this radio station is never going to play Baby It's Cold Outside?
That was 2 Christmases ago.
Yeah, okay. So now, here's the thing that we missed at the time. She's flirting with him as well. It's a flirtation that's going on. Her style of flirtation is, I'm going to leave. His style is to say it's too cold. But the reason that it's only seen in one area is because it comes from sociology professors who haven't had sex with anyone other than incoming freshmen in 30 years. And they forgot what flirtation is.
Well, you have to ask for permission.
This is a flirtatious situation going on here. And obviously, she's into him as well. And they're both flirting back and forth.
She's playing coy.
She's playing coy, but we've gotten to a point now where, no, Erica, there's no such thing as a woman playing coy, and it's a predatory, blah, 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 blah. There's never been anything wrong with that damn song. Do you have the lyrics?
I have partial lyrics. Okay, so this is...
so it's John Legend, and he's singing
Kelly Clarkson.
To Kelly Clarkson.
So it starts with Kelly.
Baby, your TV show ain't gonna last.
What will my friends think? I think they should rejoice. If I have one more drink, it's your body and your choice.
Oh, that's so lame.
God, people, look.
And it's going to be a huge hit, and everybody will love it.
No, it won't. No, it won't. No, it will come out, and it will be lauded, and they'll be on every show, and everybody, and it will not be a big hit.
It'll be the Rotten Tomatoes thing, right? Like woke movies get high rate.
Tomato meter, but nobody really
but the audience
watches
doesn't really like it.
The latest one was Bruce Springsteen and his directorial debut in this making of this movie Western Stars, which goes along with the new album he has. And he was on everything, and it made like $1,000 per theater. No one, but everyone loved it that talked about it. Oh, because he's anti-Trump and he's talking about it. But as far as, I think the album's doing all right, but nobody went to the theater to see Bruce Springsteen's directorial debut. But I'm told it was wonderful, and we all should have gone.
Eric Von Haessler.
If you think the stock market is unpredictable, buckle up and spend the next hour here. Seriously, we have no idea what he's going to say next. Eric Von Haessler on 95.5 WSB.
Alan Hunt says I should call this segment Stories That Eric Doesn't Care About, but I think that's a little bit too much like...
No thanks.
So I think we can stick with just give me a break.
Give me a break.
It is kind of the same. There you go, Doctrine voice lady. You can do give me a break.
Give me a break.
Now do the other one in the Doctrine voice, the one Alan suggested.
The stories Eric doesn't...
It's too verbose.
Like.
It's time for Stories That Eric Doesn't Like for October 29th, 2019.
I would not say, the man is looking at you right now, and he's a survivalist. You call him verbose. He might beat you up.
He doesn't know what that means.
Oh, wow!
Shots fired!
Somebody's not going to be allowed into the Apocalypse Ranch.
Alan, cut off his mic.
During the end times.
He's got control of everything, Tim. Be careful.
All right, what do you got?
It's gone.
The most expensive Pokemon card on Earth sold for $195,000.
Give me a break.
It's made of diamonds.
I don't get... So it's just rare?
Yeah.
Tim Andrews and Mark Arum like that every morning.
We don't collect Pokemon.
No, but you collect baseball cards. And you talk about how much. The only value to this any sort of collecting is that somebody else is dumb enough to pay a little bit more.
Well,
right?
Could be hologram.
Because it has hologram. But what's the value? The value is I'm stupid enough to pay $100,000, and the reason that that's not really, really stupid is there's at least 7 other people stupid enough to pay $1 more if they had the opportunity. So you can look at it as sort of an investment, right? If I hold this card long enough, then it will be worth $200 or something along those lines. And I don't doubt that. So if you have the money, I suppose it's an okay move. But in reality, paying $100,000 for a baseball card, or hey, this is an original. Who's that guy that has the most expensive Honus or whatever?
Honus Wagner, because there's only like 8 of them.
Okay, But you want to know something? I've seen those cards over and over and over again online. Yeah, I've never held it. I've never held the card in my hand, and neither of you. You put it in plastic because it's too valuable to actually hold in your hand. So you've never actually held it in your hand either. So you're kind of looking through a screen, seeing it just like I am.
There's a story behind that card, though, which makes it interesting.
It's the same story that I saw online underneath the card.
Right.
The graphic image of the card. I saw the story. I got it all. Cost me nothing. And I have as much as anybody who spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in order to get that card. Collecting is a weird thing. It's only a good move if somebody else is stupid enough to pay $1 more at some point in the future.
But Eric, this Pikachu Illustrator card, there's only 10 left in the world. I mean, you want to be one of the 10.
I want to get the next.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the fact that he mocks, but when it comes to baseball cards, he's part of it. Hour 2 of the Von Haessler Doctrine begins right now. I still got the thing about that, the new version of Baby It's Cold Outside. So it's John Legend and Kelly Clarkson. Give me those new lyrics again. Oh, it says to remove the date rape lyrics that were in there before. None of us knew all these years. Thank you, sociology professors, for teaching us something about ourselves. All those years we were enjoying a Christmas song. We had no idea it was about date rape. Thank goodness really smart people came along and educated us. I would suggest perhaps that they open up some camps where we all are forced to go to be re-educated.
To learn the new lyrics.
To learn the new lyrics. Don't you think that'd be...
Yeah.
I mean, it just seems like the smart thing to do because...
Who doesn't want to be... to continue their education.
And all of us have not had the benefit of what sociology professors have had, so that maybe just have some camps. I would say some mandatory, just stay just for a couple of weeks in those camps.
Christmas re-education camps.
Exactly.
Yeah, think about it like a winter camp, you know?
See, I didn't. I dropped out of the ninth grade. Yeah. So how would I be smart enough to know that I thought that cute little Christmas song? How would I know that it was actually about date rape? I need smart people to educate me about myself. So thank you once again, sociology professors. You're cleaning up the nation. All right, so what are the new lyrics?
So there's 4 lines, and it starts with the Clarkson line, who's the female.
Is she? Okay.
What will my friends think? Legend responds, I think they should rejoice. If I have one more drink, it's your body and your choice.
You know what this is? Besides the stupidity of it, you ever like when you see North Korea, images from North Korea, and you see all those murals and that art, you think, God, they got some crappy art in North Korea. And the reason is because it's government-sanctioned art. Government-sanctioned art always has 4 to 5 things that must be in every piece, so that to educate the crowd into what they're being and how to respond to the world around them. And government-sanctioned art always sucks. I hate mural art, even in this country, because the stuff that you see on bridges and cities this is the artwork that the city council approved. And that's why it's got everything. It says everything and nothing. The sun is rising. MLK's face is there. There's children on a playground. Everything is there that's supposed to be there. And it's government-sanctioned art. That's why it sucks. This is the version. It's weird. The government didn't tell them to do this. It's weird that we live in a society that has come to the point with the First Amendment where, hey, we better censor ourselves.
We're too free.
We're too free.
Yeah.
Our government did not bring their A game when it comes to telling us what we can and cannot say. We better do it to ourselves. And that's why when you hear stuff like this, it's not just the lunacy on the surface. It's that they've taken what was a great song. It's a great song. It's one of the better Christmas songs because it's not just, and we go into and playing in the snow. There's actually something going on. And some of the best singers, male and female, have duetted on this because it's such a really cool song. Because the original song is about real people involved in something that happens all the time, which is that little mating dance that goes on. That's a real thing. It's been happening since the beginning of time. It's going to be happening when every one of us are dead. It's just a real thing, and good art reflects the human condition. Good art has never reflected the priorities of the government or how we're trying to teach. If you try to teach me something through a song, the first thing I know without listening to it is the song sucks if you're trying to teach me something with your art. So it is that version of Baby It's Cold Outside is the audio equivalent of crappy government-sanctioned North Korean art that you see all the time. You
One
ready?
of the lines is, "My mother will start to worry," and he responds, "I'll call a car and tell him to hurry." I feel like if that was the case, if that happened in real life, I'd be like, "Oh, do you want me to go?"
Yeah,
You know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah, do you want me to? Or why does he have to call? Doesn't she have the strength to call? She's a woman.
Yeah,
Why
everybody
does he have to
has
call?
Uber and Lyft nowadays.
So we're still going to pretend that we're all, because the song came out in the 40s or whatever, we're still going to pretend we're dealing with landlines here. Ridiculous. All right, let's do this.
Even more headlines for Tuesday, October 29th.
That's what I'm saying. It's time for these re-education camps.
It sounds great.
Yeah, I mean, why? Who wouldn't want to know more?
Some people can't afford, a quality education,
Right,
so let's have the government provide it for adults who are, just happen to be thinking a little bit differently.
I just, whatever your average sociology professor thinks, and this is one thing I've learned, is everything needs to be sustainable. That's what, we're having meetings around here about the show. Is it sustainable? Because apparently that means good. If it's sustainable,
Sure, it's
everything has to be
green.
sustainable. To this, still, people don't know this because I've only said it a couple of times. But if we're talking about any policy, any issue, the moment the other person utters the word sustainable, I keep smiling because I'm a nice guy. But basically, I write them off in my brain. Okay, you're just a parrot. All right, what do you got?
A new poll finds that 7 out of 10 millennials said they would vote for a socialist.
Oh, am I supposed to get up in arms about this as a libertarian? These young kids today. These young kids with their socialism. People who are young tend to flirt with this sort of stuff because they don't know enough about the world. They already have the benefits. This is what they don't realize is they're flush, standing on the shoulders of giants. You're flush with all the rewards of 200 plus years of capitalism in this country. You already have your smartphones. You already have all the things that make your life convenient. You already have comfortable shoes that you can afford. You already have all these things. So then why not pick out the problems and say, well, maybe we should go in another direction. But as my belief is, as people get older, they get a bit more sensible about the world because you wouldn't have that smartphone if you lived in a communist society. The only reason communists have them is because we invented them. In order to innovate, look at socialism and figure out how many products were innovated. I mean, the Soviet Union was around for 70 years. They never created a car that anyone wanted to buy. They were all about the worker and labor and factories and blah, blah, blah. They never created a car that, and the 70 years that the Soviet Union was a thing, I would say was peak automobile innovation time. And they were never able, because in order to innovate, you have to put in lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of hours that you do not get compensated for. Your abstract thought is saying, one day, if this comes through, I'll be more than compensated. Why is that an idea in your mind? Because you're in a society that has something called profit motivation. You're motivated by the fact that you could one day turn a strong profit, and all of this time and energy that you're putting in that nobody's noticing right now and no one is rewarding you for right now, in your mind you're thinking it's all going to be worth it because I get this to market and it's going to be big, and sometimes that works out. Often it does not work out, but it is that motive, the profit motive, is the reason. I go back to Steve Jobs again. They were putting in 90 hours when they built, 90 hours a week they were putting in when they were starting Apple, and they were not getting paid for 90 hours a week. Steve Jobs believed this is all going to pay off. He was correct. One guy famously didn't believe in it and sold all of his stock or his shares in very early on, like 83 or something like that. And that guy, well, he went on to do all right. He was a really smart guy, but I think that would have been worth obviously multiple million, 250 million or more. And he's like, this is good. I've done all right. And he walked away with a few thousand, I believe. So that guy didn't believe. He was out. But that's what this generation doesn't understand about socialism. You're standing on the shoulders of giants. You already have all of these products, but you cannot, they didn't come from socialism. And I'd throw it out there again. Soviet Union, 70 years in peak automobile time. innovation time, never created a vehicle that anyone wanted to buy anywhere in the world. The Soviet people didn't want them either. They were kind of forced into them.
There wasn't like the equivalent of like a MiG or something like that was a car?
No, the MiG was stolen from us. They stole that, the MiG was stolen from what, our F-15? Is that what it is? There's no innovation. Now, the one place you can have innovation in communism, because it's always a dictatorship or something like that, real communism, not the European socialism. That's a different thing. But the one place in a real communist society, like the Soviet Union was, or the way China is internally, that you can innovate is the military, because that's something that's being done for the greater good of the state. So they will give you that extra time, and they will reward you for putting that time in. That's about it. You have to be working on things that the state believes will help the state out. But just, I think it'd be fun to be able to play video games on your phone. No country thought we need that in order to take over the world. So no one was going to be giving up that time. So I will say there's another thing came out. More than a third of millennials polled approve of communism. They don't know what communism is. Bernie Sanders, he's a cute old guy, reminds me of my professors. They don't know what communism is. And as they grow older, like everyone else, they don't want to hear this right now, but they're going to be like everyone else, and they're going to grow shades more conservative as they get over. They may not become Republicans, but they're going to be wiser. They're going to understand how the world works. So it doesn't surprise me. These kids are now 25, 26. They're still in the clutches of their college professors. Because why? Because the college professors weren't their parents, and because their parents weren't cool. But as they get out there in life and deal with the world, this will go down. We're in no danger. The best thing that could happen to capitalism in this country is that Warren wins the presidency. Let me tell you something. 4 years of that, we will snap back into laissez-faire capitalism.
That's a win-win.
It's for you. It's only 4 years. You get to go home.
Yeah. I'll get a book deal. I'll go on some tours.
She will destroy.
I'll get me a beer with everybody.
Even if the Congress is Republican and can stop her, she will destroy business just with the President of the United States waking up every day and just talking about how evil business is in this country.
But Eric, one of my buddies told me that once Trump is impeached, all Republicans will be extinct. There'll be a one-party system after that.
Is that what your buddy is hoping for?
Yeah, well, that's what he said is going to happen.
Well, how old is your buddy?
He is 29.
Doesn't surprise me that's what he's hoping for. Oh, wouldn't it be great if I was in charge all the time? And I looked this guy up. His name was Ronald Wayne, and he was the third person in Apple. And he was only there for like 12 days. They brought him in. He was supposed to be an adult in the room. And he sat down in 1976 and he wrote out this contract and responsibilities, and he would own 10% of the company. And he also designed the first logo, which they used for about a year. And as he was sitting there, within a little bit of time, it started to occur to him, hey, these other two guys, Jobs and Wozniak, they're young and broke. He wasn't young and broke. He had a home. He had a lot of things to lose. And he started looking at some of their contracts, and they had contracts to sell computers to companies that were known for not paying their bills. And so this guy kind of freaked out and thought, well, if this thing goes downhill, these two guys, they're already broke. I'm going to be on the hook for any debt here. So he got cold feet. So 12 days later, he decided to sell his shares and his 10% of the company back to Jobs and Wozniak for $800. Now, this article that I'm reading was written in 2017, so I don't know since then. But in 2017, a 10% stake in Apple, had he just held on to it, would have been worth more than $80 billion. And I said that to Jared in the break. He goes, oh, what an idiot. Well, in hindsight, but I can understand where the dude was coming from at that point. But it's only $800. Well, he didn't want to be on the hook for everything. I don't know. Do you ever get over that?
No.
Do you ever get over that?
Not.
That you could have $80 billion rather than...
Every Thanksgiving, you're going to get humiliated by Grandma.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I was looking for that shit. Oh, it doesn't exist. Ronald. He was always the smart one. All right, so our little video with Trey Young is available.
Yes, it is on our...
Or as some people might call it, our excruciatingly long 4.5-minute video.
I'd share it, but people on my page don't like anything more than a minute.
Yeah, it's just too much for people. It's too much. But if you are a hardy soul who can handle 4.5 minutes, admittedly not for everybody. It's a long read. It is available where?
It is on the Von Haessler Doctrine Instagram and our Von Haessler Doctrine Facebook page. Can't miss it. First
and
thing
really
on the
what
top.
I say is just go take a look at it and just see how cool the guy is. It's not hilarious. He's just very nice. He's a nice person.
Yeah.
And took some time right out of practice to goof around with us for a couple of minutes and was really nice. By the way, Trae Young, the second highest scorer in the NBA this year so far.
Yeah, but 4 minutes, it's like the War and Peace of radio station
it's just
videos.
too much. And by the way, we're not putting on any of the WSB social medias, right?
We have not put it on
I know
those.
how you are. You blow me off sometimes.
I did it anyway,
And you're
yeah.
a company man.
I do love 95.5 WSB, Atlantis News and Talk.
But I don't want our exceedingly long content to bog them down. They're running at a fast clip, man. They're short attention spans, and they're feeding that beast. And I don't want to get in that way when we have these unbelievably long video pieces at 4 minutes plus. I don't want to do anything. It's because I love WSB as much as you do that I don't want to bog down that rapid pace, rapid fire WSB social media with our long. Really, but you got to put your feet up.
He put it on Kirk Mellish's blog, though, because if people are going there to read about,
The weather,
future forecasts,
yeah.
they have attention spans.
Exactly.
So that's where we
put
should
it anywhere.
Yeah.
You're just joking, of course. People will go there.
No,
Hey,
it's
you
not
said
there.
it would be
No,
there.
it's not there.
I didn't know Tim Andrews was actually joking about
Liar.
Two places, the Von Haessler Doctrine Facebook page and the Von Haessler
that.
Doctrine
Remember,
Instagram.
that's 3 months where anything that we do special outside the show, the WSB social media, not only do we have to they're not allowed to have it.
Not till January 29th,
They're
2020?
not, even if they want it, they're not allowed to have it because I don't want our stuff bogging them down, man. They're running fast. They're running fast and furious. That Rush audience and that Sean audience, they're all
Hey, I keep
young.
my videos at 15 seconds, buddy. TikTok.
They're all young and happening, Not with our old guy stuff, 4.5 whole minutes. Anyway, it's out there and you'll just see just what a cool guy is. That's the point of that whole video. If you have what it takes to stick out the entire 4.5 minutes. Some people may not be able to do that. Are you ready to do this? Let's do this.
It's the stories we just couldn't miss. It's the Doctrine Extra.
The problem is if with our audience, the wider, not just this show, but the wider radio audience here, if we keep their attention on one video for 4.5 minutes, they're likely to miss a commercial about erectile dysfunction. And we don't want that to happen because we're here to help. All right, what do you got for me?
A jury has awarded nearly $20 million to a police sergeant that was told to tone down his gayness.
Well, how much did he get?
$20 million.
At some point in the back of your mind, you got to be like, man, I'm glad they offended me.
Yeah.
Right?
You're right, yeah.
So this guy was in line to become, I don't know if it's the next chief or whatever, but he was in line to move up. And he kept being passed over.
He's going to become a lieutenant, yes.
Everybody liked him, and he was like, why am I being passed over? And then somebody pulled him aside and said, not for nothing, but if you tone down the gayness a little bit, maybe you'd get the, which is, a pretty, first of all, no matter, let's forget about the morality of the whole thing. It's just from a business point of view, a dumb thing to say, even if it's you'd say, maybe too many scarves at work. I don't know. You can start with something else, but just to come out and actually say something like that. Now, so he deserves the judgment, I believe. But $20 million, if I was him, even if I thought, I've been offended and there's no reason to stop me, because you think I'm too gay. At the end of the day, and I hate that saying, when all is said and done, if I'm walking out of that courtroom, I'm like, I'm kind of glad that guy said that to me because I have my health. And now I have $20 million.
How long ago did this happen?
I don't know. I didn't.
I feel like it takes a couple years for stuff like this to
This
really.
is 2017 in St. Louis County.
Okay, so a couple years ago, I was offended. I would say maximum 6 months after it happened.
Yeah. You've really kind of moved on, and then 4 years later, it's like, hey, here's $20 million. There's got to be a part of you. This is.
God works in mysterious ways.
I'm really.
Will he go back to work?
Really, huh?
Will he go back to work?
Well, I think he's
would.
probably been working the whole time.
I know, but now with the $20 million.
You give me 20. You put $20 million in my hand now because I'm 55.
Yeah.
I'm out. I'm done. I'm gone. And I'll probably be dead within 2 years. I got to be honest with you. The idea of being my own policeman was ridiculous when I was 25. 55, I would hope I'd be a little bit wiser.
Oh wow, they
know.
really screwed this guy over. Instead of being promoted back in May of 2016, he filed a lawsuit in 2017. It said that he was transferred to a precinct 27 miles away from his home, where he was assigned to work from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. So he had the overnights.
So he didn't. You know why? Because he didn't tone down his gayness. How do you tone down your gayness? So I don't even know what that means. You see a picture.
It's almost like they punished him.
See a picture of a guy, and you would not immediately. You wouldn't go. He's not like wearing leopard print. I don't know what.
He's not constantly dressing for a parade.
Yeah, exactly. He does. So does he talk about it a lot? I don't know. I have no idea how you tone down your gayness. Can you just tone down your gayness? Tim Andrews has been telling for years. He wonders why he doesn't become the host. And I said, look, man, you just need to tone down your gayness. Maybe.
That and the calls, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Jared has toned down his hetero-ness.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you got to tone down. Doesn't matter how you identify or whatnot.
I'm taking baby steps, if, God forbid anything ever happens, I'll dabble with dating a transgendered woman because I'm woke.
You're woke. Right, exactly. You don't have any problem with that.
Right.
But you need to tone down your wokeness if you ever want this. The point is, for me, yes, it was wrong for somebody to tell him this. Yes, it was certainly wrong to keep the guy back if he was qualified because of this. But still, if I'm him, I'm walking out of that courtroom kind of happy they screwed me over.
Yeah.
$20 million. I don't have to tone anything down now. As a matter of fact, you give me $20 million, whatever my personality traits are, they're being toned up. All the way to 11.
Somebody else be offended by me.
That's right. All right, we only have a very little time here. Should we go to commercial here and come back? Or what do you got?
I can tease something about
that.
And the search for clean energy, or clean electricity, Eric, I should say.
Yeah.
Power companies in Finland are going green by way of something mysterious.
Oh, is that your tease?
I'll tell you what it is.
They're using something else for their energy. When we come back, you're going to tell us what that is. Clive Cliverson, my radio guru / consultant.
Tease,
You're really, really working on it. Although people don't really care about energy. But I like the concepts. Good tease. We'll find out when we come back. All right, people have been waiting almost for 4.5 whole minutes, which I understand around here. It's a long time to ask the audience to hang. Been waiting for the other side of that tease. So when you said that, where is it, in Finland?
In Finland. They're searching for a new source of clean electricity.
Clean power all the way around.
Yes.
Energy. And so what are they doing? Are they going nuclear?
No.
What are they going?
They're using animal poo.
Oh, that sounds like a great idea.
Instead of going green, they're going brown.
So who has to? That's not bad. Come on. Don't just jump on him just to jump on him.
I get it because it's brown poo.
That's correct.
I get it.
So how do you collect enough to run a factory, though? This is my question. Do you just have a yard out back and you just have a bunch of animals that are pooing?
Well, I would assume that a farm, like farms, would then take their manure.
But we have to have energy 24 hours a day. I mean, you have to have a lot. Well, you ever see
Maybe the workers are going back there, too.
All the coal.
Yeah.
You see, like, all the coal that's stored in certain places. It's like mountains of it. Where are these dung mountains that we can get this from?
Yeah, but
it's absurd.
It would have to be rendered.
It's absurd. If the greenhouse gases are the thing that really gets you, nuclear is the way to go. And nuclear is not the way that we think of it now. And still, these plants that we try to build that are from the 70s are silly. There are countries that are doing this right. There's safer, smaller nuclear reactors that are available that can do this stuff. And yes, they do have waste, and we bury them, and it takes forever. You don't get something for nothing. Mm-hmm. But what you wouldn't get is you would get no carbon put into the air. And if that's what you really want to do right now, animal poo, I've got, that's not waste. What is the waste of the waste? Because you're starting with waste, and then you're creating waste.
Probably the intensified smell, but
there's got to be carbon. There's carbon in poo. There's carbon in every human living organism.
Yeah. Well, so I think it does go into the atmosphere.
Sure. Then you got poo-llution. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, good night. Drive carefully.
End the show now. Just end it.
No one can top that.
No.
And even my bosses will like it because it didn't take 4.5 minutes. It was right there inside of our fans' attention span range. Like 10 seconds. What are we doing, radio for goldfish? All right, go ahead.
Well, I was going to tell you that they've determined this company called Fortum.
Fordham.
It's a Fortum.
Yeah. Force them.
It's a Finnish company.
You shouldn't force them. It leads to hemorrhoids.
And they claim that manure produced daily by 2 horses can generate heat for a single-family home for a year.
Yeah, as long as the horses aren't sick. What happens when the horse gets sick?
Then your stuff gets a little sparky. That's
Get
fine.
the bucket. Get the bucket, Mom.
This is really, really. We still have like all kinds of coal left in the world, right?
Yeah.
Coal is still a great deal. Now we clean it up.
It's difficult to get.
No, it's not. It's not difficult to get. Coal, as a matter of fact, you can't The problem with solar electrical lines, it's very difficult to bottle that up and take it somewhere else. Electricity created from solar does not travel. You got to use it right there, or you can't use it. Basically, you can transmit it just a little bit, or you lose it. Coal, you take a chunk of coal, whatever amount of energy is in that chunk of coal, put it in your hand, get on an airplane, fly 2,000 miles, get off the airplane, stick it in a furnace. It still works. Doesn't lose any amount of energy because of the travel. It's still a very good, potent source. We want to be clean. We want to have less air pollution. But you have these people who are convinced that, the world's supposed to end in 9 years. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Call me a heretic. Call me a loser. Call me backward. All things that I will have heard many times before in my life. Call me whatever you want. I don't think the world's ending in 9 years. And Eric, we didn't say it was going to end in 9 years. Said if we didn't do something about it in the next 9 years, then it will be irreversible. But I'm old enough to remember when they told me that in 2004. You see, kids, I can remember commercials on TV that said if we didn't turn this around in the next 10 years, back then, it was the early 2000s, that was it. We were done. And now suddenly, here we are in 2019, and the governor called. We still have 9 years left, apparently, to do this thing. I don't know where we got that extra time, but call me whatever you want. I do not believe that the world's ending in 9 years. I don't believe that if we don't do the policies X politician wants done, that after 9 years it becomes... So this should be the truth then. If it's true that by 2029 or 2030, if we don't do all of these things that need to be done in the name of climate change, then after that, you won't bother us anymore, right? Because you told us if we didn't do something by 29 or 30, then there'll be nothing we could do about it. So at the very least, if you don't get your policies passed before 29 and 30, we have a deal, right? Mm-hmm. You're not going to bother us anymore, because why would you? We're already past the point of no return. The problem is if you live long enough, with enough of these scares, you've lived past the point of no return so many times, you just expect a return in the future. And hey, so what? You got to build your house 10 feet further back from the beach. Oh. If you live on a small island in the middle of the Pacific, get out.
Ours is on stilts.
Yeah, and then meanwhile,
right there in Martha's Vineyard.
Matter of fact, I met somebody who was a big environmentalist. He said, Eric, I'm from the, I don't agree with you on a lot of I love the show. A lot of things I don't agree with. But I have to admit, you really got to that whole the Obamas purchasing the house on the water. There's no way they really believe that in 10 years everything's going to be flooded if they're buying a house today, Martha's Vineyard, on the water. It's just not possible. So, hey kids, it's really a good message. The world's going to be here throughout your whole life. You're actually living in the sweet spot. For the first few billions of years, you couldn't even... It was just a molten lava rock rolling around. You couldn't do anything.
And then there were dinosaurs.
Yeah, who wanted to be alive then? You're living in the sweet spot, and the good news is you will die, and the planet will still go on without you. Even if you're 20 today and you live to be 120. That music tells me, on that optimistic note, because that's what we're all about here at the Von Haessler Doctrine. The Von Haessler Doctrine is an optimistic program that tells you something optimistic like that. Kids, you're going to die, and the planet will live on past you. On that optimistic note, we take our leave of the radio airwaves, but we're not done completely. We're going to go over to the Podcast 30. How can people join us over there?
There are 2 places the listeners can go, Eric.
Oh, yeah?
They can go to
pretty soon it's going to be 1. I don't even know if I should have this podcast over there.
They can go to the Von Haessler Doctrine Facebook or the WSB Radio Facebook page.
Go to the Von Haessler Doctrine Facebook page. I don't know how long. I don't want to be over there. This show's a half an hour long.
Click the little red box.
That might be a little too much.
On the Von Haessler Doctrine page.
Either way, we'll be back here tomorrow morning. You're all invited to join us. Thanks for listening to the Von Haessler Doctrine podcast. Remember, you can hear the show every weekday from 9 to noon right here on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Like current events and want to be the smartest among your friends? Then the Power Pod is the show for you.
The Power Pod is a weekly recap show where we cover the current events of the week.
It's a show where we're not afraid to get serious.
And we're not afraid to have some fun.
So try us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, the WSB Radio app, WSBRadio.com, Stitcher, CastBox. Okay. Anywhere there are podcasts, we are there. So power up with the Power Pod.
What you talking about?
I'll tell you, I don't know what we're talking about, but we got 30 more minutes of the gab. Hipsters. I'm still here.
Pew, 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 pew.
He's still here. That guy over there is still here. She's still here. And look who's come back. That guy. We're all here for you. Greg Russ is here because he found out that Tad was not here. You know, Tad and Greg, they can't be on the same show together.
Oh, no, not at all.
So you decided to come on in, and we appreciate it, Greg. We don't see enough of you.
That's true.
Yeah.
This was part of my plan, just to disappear for a while, and then you have Tad, and you think, yeah, this isn't what I thought it would be. I wish Greg were back.
Yeah, is that what's happening? I thought Tad was fantastic last week. Had an enjoyable conversation with him, without Greg interrupting everything.
No,
all the time,
you just can't stand the fact you're manipulated. I'm the best manipulator there is. It's very subtle. Nobody knows.
You think you can out-manipulate me?
Yeah.
I'm the king of manipulation.
I've been manipulating you your whole life. I'm on this show.
Yeah.
How many free lunches did I get from you?
Now that I think about it, it's true. He doesn't even have to
You've been
come
hoodwinked.
here. Yeah, he got to stay in New York City and still be on the show. It does make sense.
And he gets paid now.
He gets paid
Yeah, and it's
thousands of
because I'm
dollars
patient.
on appearance.
I'm the patient manipulator.
That's the way to do it, huh?
Yes, you just got to put in the time.
That's an old-time radio show, I think.
The patient manipulator. I think Orson Welles did the voice on that one.
Jeez, the patient manipulator.
He's like, dum-de-dum-de-dum. Just
NBC
waiting.
Radio presents a Texaco production.
Yeah, the patient manipulator's like, oh, that's
Waitress. Can I have another?
It's okay. I can wait. it'll all come up roses. I can wait. What are you looking at there, Greg Russ, on your transom?
Well, I'm trying to also do my job while I come back.
We don't get all of it.
Okay, somebody recorded this VO, and they used GarageBand. I'm going to talk about an old man.
Yeah, voice. By the way, that's voiceover for those who don't know what a VO is.
And this thing is in pieces. I thought I would just be able to dig into a file and do a quick edit.
Yeah. No,
It's
it
in
turns out they
pieces.
actually want you to work. Doesn't that piss you off?
No, if you
The
record
people
it in
who pay you?
audition.
Yeah.
This man who's never mind. I don't want to review.
Yeah,
who
there's
he is.
no reason. I've gone after some people here today. I didn't use their names. They know who they are, though.
No need.
Yeah.
You're right.
Then I feel bad. Whenever I start lashing out on the air, then I realize, oh, yeah, you walk around the building all the time.
Yeah,
So-
you're walking
yeah.
right into the people you were just...
I make myself so
talking about.
available.
You're not getting a wave.
No, I'm not getting away. I might get confrontation. And you know how I am with confrontation. Run! Yeah, I just run away from it.
With all of your walking, you might walk past a open, office
Yeah.
with those people in there and say, "Oh, Eric, can you step in here
Yeah,
for
I'll
a
just
second?"
say, no, I'm walking.
Yeah, I
I'm
got
walking
I
here.
gotta get my step.
I got to get
What's
my
the full
steps.
story? And I know if people listen to the show, I know you wanted to post the video.
No. It's me overreacting a little bit, but it's just like
Just so you know, the edit
kind of
is
a pet
2 minutes.
peeve.
You keep saying 4 minutes. The edit is 2 minutes.
Oh, that's 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's 2 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that long.
No, that's not that long.
What's the
Wow,
concern,
hold on.
though?
No, there's no concern, really. Now, I'm blowing it up a little bit. It's just that I was able to see the sausage being made a little bit. Don't point that thing at me. What's the matter with you?
Oh, sorry.
It's just a threatening. No, you can point your thing. It's not
threatening.
Not threatening
Hey,
anymore.
look.
Soft things usually aren't threatening.
No, I was part of a thread. I was part of a thread.
Either way.
Where they were talking about the Trey Young video and from the digital department. And so the concern was that, maybe it's a little bit too long. And I don't know why I was going with 4.5 minutes was in my head. I think Jesse told me it's going to be that or shorter. But no, it's 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And
2 minutes is some change.
So there was a thing on there from management that said, well, it seems a little long, but we'll put it up there and see what the view-through rate is. And that upset me. That bothered me because that makes it seem like, well, if we're going to use the Von Haessler Doctrine stuff. So I just turned it around. For 3 months, there's a moratorium. They're not allowed to use anything that we produce for 3 months on WSB social media that isn't on our Instagram personally or our thing.
Can I produce?
It annoys me. 2 minutes is too long. What do you?
Well, this is my question for you. Can I produce a 6-hour piece? And then it puts it in. It reframes the whole thing for them, and then it'll be begging for the 4 minutes.
Yeah.
There you
Or the
go.
2 minutes,
or the 2 minutes and change for anyone who doesn't know.
Yeah.
Jared said this earlier. That means a few seconds over.
Yeah. You laugh. You laugh. But do you know on Friday night? This is how wild and crazy this guy's life is. On Friday night, I watched, and then I saw an article about it. Not about me watching it. I watched a guy just talking to the camera. It was, professional. The lighting was good. He was dressed in a tie for 4.5 hours saying, I have solved the mystery of what Twin Peaks is about.
I watched that video, 4-hour video. Oh my God, I watched it over the weekend.
And I watched all 4.5 hours because this guy's theory was so fascinating and so well done that I didn't agree.
One take, I hope.
No, it wasn't one take, but it wasn't one of the. You didn't get a lot of those things where people edit themselves mid sentence.
Right.
He did it in chunks. But
how did you find it?
Where is it?
It was on YouTube.
It's on YouTube, and I go to
stumbled upon it?
Well, I go to Twin Peaks analysis videos.
It's in your related links, probably.
Related links, and I see this guy 4.5 hours, and he's warning. He's like, "I'm warning you. Once you find this out, you'll never be able to see it the same way again." And like I say, I don't agree with every single thing, but I do think he's onto something, and it's a whole. I had
So it obviously
some
didn't
notion-
ruin it for you.
No, it didn't ruin it for me because I've speculated in this direction, but he broke it down. And what happened was he went so far with it and started pinning everything down. And when you do that, you're going to get some things wrong, right? At some point, you're trying to fit things into your
Work your way
idea.
backwards.
But most of it, I would say 75% of it was original ideas and very well done. But it went in a direction that I sort of believed. But I can sum it all up with, hey, when ABC forced me to tell you who killed Laura Palmer, that made it impossible for any of us to actually ever really go back to Twin Peaks. I summed it up in 4.5. There's a 4.5 hour version of it.
I loved his impression of him.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever he's reading his quotes,
Lynch, yeah. I can't believe somebody else.
Well, I found it because remember last week I listened to his voice on YouTube so I could do it a little bit better?
Yeah.
It must have been the algorithm because it came up.
Cool, I want to watch it.
Well,
I'll just listen to it.
Well, you can't. It's going to spoil anything. It covers the whole season 3.
Oh,
so
I
it
forgot about
will
this.
spoil everything.
You're still holding out hope she's going to watch that one day?
I'm not holding out hope. If she wants to spoil it, she can. Actually, I think it's
I just
almost
like where it lives right now, and then the way that you guys described the
You
newer
can't handle
season.
it. You can't handle it.
Nah, you'll like it.
I love Twin Peaks. I guess what I knew of it, the first and the second season.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm afraid that
Have
I'm
you even
going to be
watched the
lost.
movie?
And I'm.
Have you
Yeah,
watched
I saw the movie.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is a lot more like the movie.
Yeah.
But weirder.
I liked the movie.
The movie is a Disney film compared to Twin Peaks season 3.
See, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if I'm going to like it, and then I'm going to.
You say that, man, but the final scenes in Fire Walk with Me are pretty hard to deal with.
That's a horror movie.
That's
I try to tell
that's
people
as brutal as
people-
anything in the other
People
one.
do not like to, and basically what this guy's saying is, I'll just put it this. So the idea is that you were never supposed to solve that murder. The whole point of the show was because there's this investigation, you just keep like peeling back an onion. You find out more and more about this town because for some reason this one girl affected everybody in the town in some way.
She touched everybody.
And this guy's theory is Lynch doesn't like the fact of what he calls consumable violence. So in most shows, there's just like a dead Law and Order. Somebody's dead. You don't know who they are. You don't care who they are. You just move on. Like violence and death is just a plot point, a way to get you to somewhere else. Whereas in this, Twin Peaks was totally different. It was a girl, and all you do is find out more and more and more and more about her and the people around her, and you were never supposed to get to the point. But when ABC forced him to reveal the killer in the middle of the second season, basically she became another piece of consumable violence, and that's why the show was canceled. Once people found out who killed her, they didn't give a damn about the town anymore.
Yeah,
and
what was the rest of the plot? Did it just turn into like Bob stuff?
They tried to go
James
with it.
went on that bike ride.
Yeah, they believe me. And Lynch checked
that
out.
woman,
he left. He left. He basically left at that
left.
point until he came back at the end of that season and did a couple of really
didn't
good
he
ones.
left to go make Fire Walk with Me, correct?
He left to make. I thought he made Wild at Heart. Then he made Fire Walk with Me after that, because Fire Walk with Me came out like a year after the show was canceled.
Yeah, you're right.
But so the idea, and it's an interesting idea, especially getting into all the things involved with balance and fire and electricity, and your television is powered by electricity, and there's good fire and there's bad fire, and it's just very interesting. I don't know that it's even correct, but the thing that David Lynch does with all of these things, he won't tell you what things mean, but he tells you they do mean something. I'm just never going to tell you what they mean, because he believes once you solve a mystery, you don't care anymore. So
yeah, and
that's true.
And the reboot was so much about peeling back even more layers about her and everybody else, and whatever dimension they were in at that time.
But that's the whole thing, is the reason you're jumping around, you don't know, people aren't acting the way they should, is because you've changed. It's who cares at this point? You know who
You're
killed
right.
her.
It's just like Lance Bass. We were all enamored with Lance Bass because we didn't know if he was gay. Mm-hmm. And then he came out, and now, like, whatever.
He revealed he was gay.
He's also
yeah, Tim, come on.
He's also
Catch up, buddy.
He's also aging, and you get less interesting as
but he's gay and
good-looking.
aging, and that's a different kind of aging.
Is that
He's gauging?
It could be he's gauging. It could be
it's a great app. Gauging.
Could be very refined and regal. Like
look, you guys think you just figured something out. This has been my whole approach to life, as I know that once people actually know me, if I'm open, I'm bored. That's the end of it.
Yeah.
Oh, we know who Greg Russ is now.
You know what? No spoiler alerts here. No. And Greg, don't spoil anything, but I will let a little bit out of the bag. I have, with an idea over the weekend, I've forced myself to become a writing partner with Greg Russ. And I don't know how that's going to go.
I think it's going to be great.
I'm kind of a dictator, and I kind of know what I want. And I know Greg's going to want to complicate things. But
do you want me to just be a writer on your show? I'll just be a writer for your show.
No, listen to me.
I need to know what the show is, and I'll write within that framework.
Well, good, because it's a good idea, and I think I can just.
Greg sent me. He told me a little bit about it.
Yeah.
And I want to be involved. Well, I have ideas too.
Okay, but here's the thing: it has to be simple. We can't make it.
No one's going to be bringing in a pony, and
you want it to be complex. I think this is the great way to do it.
No, I don't want to
pull that off.
No.
And then, I mean, you have to top it next year.
Christmas special.
This is the Christmas special.
Oh, okay.
I will tell people what the name of. I finally landed on the concept, and this is the Von Haessler Doctrine Christmas special. The Greg Who Stole Christmas.
I get a prominent role. I'm very excited
prominent
about
role.
this.
But
I'm taking it seriously, but I did have a freak out the other night thinking, man, a lot's going to follow me to carry this.
You have to wear a
No,
costume?
it's not. But this is what I'm saying. It's not a lot doesn't have to fall on you to carry this. This is just a running thread that we
Through
go
the show.
back to. It's a
The red
through,
thread of
it's
the
a
show.
through thing. And I don't want it. It doesn't have to be all complicated. We have to actually pull this off. So it'll be very fun. It'll be very fun, but it has to be simple. And I know.
Don't be so afraid, Eric.
No, I have to do this. I'm not afraid. I actually have to make
You're
it happen.
No, you're afraid that bringing other people's ideas in are going to make it too big and complicated, or you wouldn't have this long thing about telling Greg, like, don't do anything. Greg.
You just watched a 4-hour video about the most complicated show you could think of.
Yes, but I'm not in that business.
Well, we can be in that business.
No,
we can
we're
pull
in
that off.
So
All right, you're going against what I'm trying to argue for you,
Okay,
Greg.
I'm changing the name of this. The Somebody Who Stole Christmas.
I'm still. This fits right in.
The name redacted.
So any of us at any point during the Christmas special could steal Christmas.
Who stole Christmas? It's complicated enough. Well, I think sometimes Greg maybe doesn't remember this or think about this. The fact that we're doing something weird like this on WSB in and of itself is already wild.
I know.
We don't have to. And also, what I want to say to you, Greg, is you are a cartoon villain. Cartoon villains are lovable.
Well, you know what I watched?
Cartoon villain.
Speaking of cartoon villains, and you talked about watching long YouTube videos, I stared for 20 minutes at Wario and Waluigi laughing. It's just these are the evil versions of Mario and Luigi, and they just laugh and make these noises. And for
20 minutes?
Yeah, here, I would like to play some for you if I can find it.
They just laugh.
Right, make sure it's less than 2.5 minutes, though.
In the meantime, I've got a popular question that people have been asking.
Yes.
And that is to get into the Christmas show audience.
Yeah, do we have that open yet? Wait. Send that to me.
Let it go just for another minute.
Let it go all 20.
All right, okay.
Hey, it reminds me of that. There was a
I could not stop. Sorry, Nick. I could not turn that off.
That's right.
I got into it, and it keeps going.
I can't imagine somebody walking past your apartment.
How high is that, dude?
The real Joker lives in there.
Yeah.
He doesn't socialize very often.
Wasn't it
So I'm going to channel that for my cartoon villain.
Yeah, it's fun. I don't want any political statements. I don't want any deep psychological, societal statements. You're a cartoon villain that even children could enjoy.
Well, what's my motivation?
Well, your motivation is that you don't like to see, it's the Grinch thing. You just don't like to see others happy. We're building on the misanthrope idea.
Yeah.
And if you can't be happy, then no one can be happy. He's going to have to do a song. But it's going to be a sing. He can talk, sing. Villains are allowed to talk, sing. So
could he sing?
There's one line of the song is, "If I have my way, there will be no joy on Christmas Day." The Greg who stole
Greg,
Christmas.
give that
I
line
want to hear you sing.
Greg, give that line
I
a
do
run.
too.
Well, no, Eric's already assured me that because I'm a villain. It's kind of speak singing.
You can speak sing. You don't have to. It's better almost when villains speak sing.
Is he going to be speaking in his regular Greg voice, or is he amping it up? Is he more villainous?
Well, these are the things that we can work on.
Yeah. That sounds nothing like me. I feel like the workshop has already begun. I like this.
The Greg who stole Christmas.
Oh my goodness!
How's he
Listen,
gonna be
we
dressed?
need to come into town. We need to go to Lil Ozio, and we need to sit down. We need to
Close down
hash
that.
all this out.
Well, they have a thing called computers now in the
no,
internet.
but we have to. We
I-
gotta bring the band back
I
together. We'll
understand
invite
that.
Lucky.
By the time we get everybody in, most of it will be ready
Tim
to
Andrews
go.
won't
We
like
got to.
that.
It's got to be
Yeah, I
written.
know.
Yeah, me too.
80% of this has to be written by the end of the week. Otherwise, there's no chance. So that's the announcement.
Okay,
we
the
have a
laughter.
Trae Young video available, and
Okay,
the Greg
since
who stole
we
Christmas.
didn't speak about this, do you have something you can send me? When do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, I will talk to you about this in the next couple of days. I have the I'm thinking when I'm wrestling with it, I'm thinking maybe just do 2 hours because we have so much Christmas stuff from the past.
We've done 5 Christmas specials.
So the Ghost of Christmas Past can be 2 hours.
Yes.
And original stuff can be 2 hours.
Right.
And this stuff is easier. I always feel like once we get to the last half hour, the 3 hour thing, we're kind of stretching a little bit.
We might only have one more play of the, oh my gosh, It's a Wonderful Life with Trump. And we might only have one more play of that one.
Yeah, well, we have 2 hours now, though, so we can do anything we want. All right.
And the other thing, so the
I've
popular
been watching
question,
old Dean Martin Christmas specials. That guy, man, his eyes are all red. He doesn't barely just like
we're gonna
singing with a cigarette in his hand.
We're going to open up the sign up to be a part of the audience on next Monday. It's November 4th.
Now, here's the thing.
You'll have a week.
Here's the thing. This is not like a live lounge show. This is, you show up as an audience. We want only the people who really love the show and know the show and understand the show. Because, when you go to a live football game, then the commercials cut and you sit there and what's going on? There's going to be a little bit of that. We need a live audience to help us put together this show. All right. So there will be downtime. You will be directed at times to do this or that. And that's what we need. We need that spirit, not, I don't know, I heard this show once.
None of those people are ever there.
Well, somebody asked me, so somebody ran an idea by me that there would be a client they're trying to bring on board. And we'll just make tickets available at their stores for your Christmas thing. No, we can't have the casual person checking us out. It's got to be what we call the P1s, right, Clive Cliverson?
Oh, gosh.
What does P1 mean? Position
I
one?
don't know.
I think it means it's
when you sit down to pee.
No. P1.
It's on your dial.
P1. It's on your dial. It's on your dial.
Primary.
No, I thought it was position one.
Primate.
Position makes the most sense.
You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where you could pre-program
Passionate.
You could pre-program the stations into one thing in your car. The people who have WSB as number 1 are P1s, and that's and now that we expand that out into the podcast and 2 + 2 = 4 group and all of that.
Podcast 1.
Podcast 1.
Yeah, Podcast 1. So you'll be able to sign up on the WSB radio app. Make sure you have it downloaded. There'll be a little box at the bottom. You sign up on there, and there will be some questions on there to make sure that you're serious about the show.
Yeah, we need people who want to be active.
Oh, no, we're not going to give them the answers, Autumn.
I'm not asking for the answers.
This is Eric determined questions.
Yeah, I don't. Usually we do that on any of these just to make sure people are going to show up.
When did Eric leave school?
How tall was he when he was 12?
How many
what magazine would
dysfunction commercials run during the Von?
What magazine did he request from the gas station?
Because we will have.
Damn!
He's pronounced it wrong.
What ends up happening is we end up getting hundreds of people trying to sign up for these things, and it's very difficult to fill a room that has a capacity of 40.
Yeah, but we'll do our best.
Jared gets very stingy, and I had to beg him for a +1 last year, which then I gave away to one of the listeners.
You gave it away.
I gave it away to one of the listeners. I held a drawing on
that's
Facebook.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
But then I asked Jared, "Can I? Now that I've given that away, can she at least bring someone?" Jared, no. It's like, okay, so she came alone.
Yeah, we didn't have any space. It's a fire hazard.
There's a fire hazard. We weren't at capacity last year.
We were.
Were we?
Yeah.
Plus, the fire marshal was there, keeping his eye on the room.
He had a little clicker.
Possibly.
That's right. It could be a her. Fire marshals aren't just men anymore.
Fire people.
Yeah, we're advanced.
Is Alden doing a Dave Grohl impression today? She's chewing gum with her denim shirt on.
Well,
Dave Grohl always chewing gum on the microphone.
I get annoyed. Why? I get annoyed with Mick Jagger's always chewing gum.
Is he really?
Singing. It just annoys me.
I can't do it.
Huh?
Lennon did too.
Yeah, Lennon did too.
I can't sing and chew gum at the same time.
Do you chew gum before you go on the air?
I know, but when I'm speaking on the air, I take it out. I don't
know why I'm chewing. I took it out and then I had to eat it.
Was it today or yesterday that I started hearing her chewing
some grape nuts or something?
That was not me.
Somebody was chewing some, crunching on something.
How is that not you?
Grape nuts. That's like chewing gravel.
She's hiding. There she goes.
She's hiding.
There's Dave Grohl.
Yeah, it wasn't you. It just wasn't anybody that I could see in front of me. Why do you have to eat while? What if I needed a voice suddenly?
It wasn't me.
Horns up.
I don't know why I did it.
This girl, she's really good, but she's not professional.
She's a
It was an accident.
Greg,
I'm sorry.
Greg, you're crazy laughing,
Why are
dude.
you sorry if you didn't do it?
Oh, because it must have been hard to deal with on the air.
Okay, so you just apologize.
She's sorry. Are you sorry? Yes.
But
I'm
hold
sorry.
on, was it really grape nuts ham thing?
Sounded like it.
They were hard crunchy.
It was a granola. Thank you very much. And it's a bag. The bag was labeled protein, but when you look on the back, it has more sugar than protein.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's all sugar.
Grape nuts, though. It's like eating gravel.
Oh, grape nuts is terrible.
Yeah, you let them soak a day.
When I was a kid.
Grape nuts is terrible.
When I was a kid, they had that, what was his name? Yule Gibbons. He was, I don't know who he was, but he was some naturist. And the only reason I knew him is because he did the grape nuts ads. And he was, this is real nature. Whatever.
Good for you.
Yeah.
First of all,
we take a fresh pine cone.
Yeah, grape nuts is 2 words that I liked as a kid. I liked grapes. I liked nuts.
He was a wild man.
But then I ate them, and then they tasted neither like grapes or nuts. They just tasted like you were eating linoleum.
Then they had the guy who did the Will Rogers impression.
Oh, that was
guy.
Yeah,
I forget
did
that
Yule
guy's
Gibbons
name.
die?
Yeah, well, they had to move on like they do with the
the
Colonel.
guy who did Mark Twain one-man show. What was his name?
Oof.
He was
Hal Holbrook.
No, he may have done it at one point.
No,
Walt. I don't know. This guy was
Whitman.
Walt Whitman was a writer.
In the 1800s.
Yeah, he didn't do many television shows. Leaves of Grass, the television
Lee Majors.
miniseries.
Oh, I love Lincoln so much. Oh, he's so sexy.
What'd you say?
Lee Majors did it.
So,
Mark Twain one-man show.
One-man show. That was not Hal Holbrook. Last time I saw that actor, remember that show, The Practice? I liked that for the first season.
Yeah.
And he played this old lawyer who was starting to go senile in front of juries.
Oh.
It's the last time I saw him. I can't remember who that actor was.
Hal
Let's keep
Holbrook
talking
did
about
it.
it.
Hal Holbrook did it. Hey, what are you, Miss Deconstructionist? That was too much like Seinfeld. Hey, this is taking. You should be in our digital department.
This is taking longer than 4.5 minutes on board.
You see now everybody who goes to see the Trae Young video, they're going to think it's 4 minutes and go by in 2. They're going to what are they talking about?
I saw that. Great work. Great work. I watched it just now.
Isn't he a cool dude?
Oh, awesome.
Look at this contraption I created.
What is that? A knife?
Always
it's a knife on my wrist.
Oh, perfect.
I don't know if Greg's going to make it to Atlanta for the Christmas special.
Oh, my goodness. The thing is...
Could have gone right to my thigh.
Here's the thing with Greg right now.
I was practicing my villainy.
Greg is relationshipless, which means
plenty of time on his hands.
He is wild. I mean, there's no governor.
I feel him.
There's no governor at all on this guy. He's just complete. I'm surprised he's still alive. To be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
What would a woman in his life do for him, you think?
Just at least make
rein him in a little bit.
Just not even truly, but make him feel like he had to act somewhat. Maybe a little bit.
I'm the same.
Not the woman I want.
Yeah, but those women are always turn out to be crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Amen, Greg.
He goes to the crazy ones
I know
until
exactly where he's
until
coming
they
from.
Smash the back window out of his car with a baseball bat.
Ed Herman?
No, he was later.
This again?
This is in the 70s. I'm going to come to the computer.
I tried with the knife thing. I tried to help you. That was teamwork. We tried to get him off of
Greg's
this,
crazy laugh people that he played.
Yeah,
Wario and
Waluigi. Reminded me, there was this toy craze a few years back where you got this thing and you threw it on the desk and it made noises.
Yeah.
It reminded me of those laughs.
Yeah.
What were those things?
What happened to those things?
Come on, Autumn, you're the mother here. What were those toys a few years ago where you hit it on
I think Hal Holbrook, I think.
No. She's still living in the past.
Lee Majors.
Yeah.
No.
She's gone nutty.
She's losing it. I feel like she's restless today. There's something going on with Autumn today.
Yeah,
chewing gum.
Wild
she's chewing gum.
Why are there boxes in the room?
She's eating grape nuts.
Good question.
I need boxes, by the way.
Look.
Where are you moving?
Why are there boxes in here?
I need boxes.
You need some boxes? I have some
Can
for
you
you.
send me some boxes?
Do you need
yeah,
it
no
for
problem.
I need boxes because we're supposed to be packing up my office. Can you give me some boxes? This reminds me.
I can try.
Well, they got to be boxes.
Closing the door.
You can try.
Yeah, what are you doing there?
Stop looking at my dirty room.
You can get boxes from the backs of businesses in their recycling bins.
I don't want to go do
free.
that.
Go to a
wanna
liquor
do
store.
that.
They have tons of them.
I don't want to do that either.
James Whitmore.
James Whitmore.
Who's also the guy that played Will Rogers in the Grape Nuts ads.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to bring you some boxes from Dr. Bombay's?
Also,
hold on.
Also, in Planet of the
You've
Apes.
lost control.
Hey.
Also, Planet of the Apes.
I'm putting my hood up like Autumn. I'm done.
So,
skull hood.
She dodged the question. What are the
so
boxes
James
for?
James Whitmore, he played both Mark Twain and who else? You just said.
What are we talking about? Mark Twain, and he played
Will Rogers.
Will Rogers, yeah.
So this guy was like one-man show. That's all he did.
He was just one man.
I've never been to a one-man show.
Hang on, it was a show with just one man in it.
I want to do a one-man show.
Well, then just do it. Kick us out.
I just want to make money on the outside of this. The Von Haessler
Write a book.
Doctrine.
Yeah, write a book.
I don't want to write a book.
Why not?
Nobody reads anymore.
They do if you make it lists.
I don't want to make lists.
Why not?
Do an audio book. People listen to him.
I saw
Make a video just under 4 minutes.
This quantum physicist that I follow. He does has like a 1 hour thing he goes around. It's kind of a, he basically gives a lecture. He's got the PowerPoint thing going. Why can't you do that with humor? Why can't you do a world according to Eric kind of thing?
Well, Hannah Gadsby does that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm going to do it, but be funny. So there'll be points, but I will also be funny.
Why don't you just do an audio book and you actually read the book yourself? That way people listen to you.
You
don't even need to write books anymore. You just write the title of the book and you sell that.
Yeah, okay.
and then they give you
I don't think Eric could do it. I think Eric would want to have some kind of story in between pages. He would go, he'd be like, well, I'm going to go down this story and tell this personal part about it, and then go back to the book.
First of all, once I get Greg and Autumn involved with the Christmas show, I've got a 5.5 hour extravaganza I have to write. Once I get through that,
here's what you do.
Maybe I can think about the book.
Split this Christmas special into 2 parts. Do 1 part this year, 1 part next year.
There you go.
To be continued.
Christmas 2020.
There you go.
That's what they do with all the TV shows and movies.
Cliffhanger.
So
they did that with the Back to the Future movies. Remember, coming summer of so and so. Back to the Future
They
Part
also
2.
did it with the Evil Dead. Is that the name of that movie? The Evil Dead? Yeah.
Evil Dead.
He did it with Back to the Future too.
Yeah, but Evil Dead's good.
Because they said coming Back to the
Back
Future
to the Future
3.
2 is kind of
You've never even seen it.
Best one.
I have seen it.
I like one
the
and
one
three.
where
Three's no good.
he's got the sneakers.
3's no good.
Yeah,
3's a
sucks.
waste of time.
Oh, 3 just looks ridiculous. I never
Sneakers
saw
are
it.
in the first one.
I love
No,
3.
the sneakers are in the second one.
Autumn. See, there she is.
The
She likes
puff-up
strength.
sneakers?
Going against the grain.
Yeah, you're right.
They're in the second one.
Yeah, you're right.
2 and 3 were supposed to be one movie, but it was
Really?
too long.
He's going to go to the Wild
I
West?
liked 3.
Much
I
like
don't like 3.
the Christmas special.
See, Evil Dead 3 is maybe my favorite because he ends
Army
up...
of Darkness.
Yeah, doesn't he end up in the in the medieval...
He does at the
age?
end of Evil Dead 2. He
And
falls
then
into another dimension.
And then he goes, and the rest is just fighting people in the medieval...
Yeah, with his chainsaw on his arm. And then there's the series, which is also
The
really
series, I watched the first 4 or 5, and then I stopped watching for some reason, but I enjoyed it. Like, he looks like Mitt Romney now.
good. Yeah, I know.
Speaking of time traveling, is Doctor Who still on?
They're on hiatus.
Oh, okay.
But they're
Is she
making
still
new
going to
ones.
be the new?
Yeah.
Is she
You
still
know
going
who's
to be
coming
it?
back, right?
I'm not watching.
David Tennant.
To boost her. They're going
Yep.
to do one of the... Every once in a while, they do the one
Yes.
where they have all the living doctors get together for something. This time, they're all going to get together and agree. We were very misogynist in the past, and we appreciate the fact that you are fixing Doctor Who. I don't want to hear David Tennant tell... it's like David Tennant says...
Should have been nice to the Rose.
She's the best. She's the best doctor. No, she's not.
Should have been nice to the Rose.
Should have been nice to her. Is that Michael...
It's
Kane.
one of them.
Michael
My name
Caine?
is Michael
Why wasn't
Caine.
I ever Doctor Who?
Doctor Who?
Doctor Who.
I think you were too famous.
Maybe.
That music tells me
Yeah.
that now we're done with the podcast portion of this. This day is just flying by. All right, folks. Anything left? Any old business? No. Any new business? We're done for the day. Greg, any last complaint you have for the world before we go?
Play that.
No, I'm
laugh.
looking forward to working with you.
Yeah, as I do you.
I am excited, actually, about it.
You should be, but it's gonna be chunkable and containable.
Okay, fine.
All right.
If you don't get...
It's already
What?
a wild.
I don't get what?
concept.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Greg, look, there's always the one topic Christmas special.
That's
you can go
right.
as deep as you want on that.
That's right. One topic this week.
I don't understand why that's funny.
Christmas.
Yeah, that would be a good show.
Yeah, it would be.
Let's laugh at something and be good. Look, candy. A pile of candy.